Hello and welcome to the very last ABW of 2025. Got you all excited there. With me tonight to see in the new year and get out the old year is, starting from the top right, it's our very own Norwich Nick. Is his username on Tinder. How you doing, Norwich Nick?
Oh, I'm not very happy, to be honest, Danny.
Well, that's not fucking surprise. You're going to spend the entire show with a face like a smacked ass.
No, I've been waiting here 15 minutes with my hand out for someone to shake it, and nobody's been shaking my hand. So I'm going to have a hissy fit and go down the tunnel in protest.
That's quite relevant to what's going on at the moment. If you ever do meet me, people, don't touch me, don't shake my hand. Fist bump at the very, very most. Unless you wear a nice aftershave, then you may approach me, but always keep 2 foot away from me because, like a baboon,
I've got Sauvage. Is that nice enough for you?
Well, I'm a brute man on before, if I've had my way. Talking about brute, Kris, he's finally here. This is his first and last show of the year. How you doing, Treacle?
Sorry. I can't be here all night. It's cold. Can we get on with it, please?
Don't you have any heating on?
No, it's a reference to last night, as Nick referenced as well. Have you not seen the Unite interview?
I saw him storm off, and I saw him do an interview after saying, I waited around, for half a millisecond as Arteta's spinning around like a whirling dervish looking for you. What did it have to do with it? Was he too cold? He needed a wee-wee?
He said he was too cold, which is hilarious, given the fact he stood on the touchline the entire time. This is the same Unai Emery who took his jacket off when Villa scored last weekend in the cup. Birmingham is colder than London, culturally factual. So, Yeah. Anyway, hello. Yes, this is my one appearance for 2020. I mean, if we did like a 4-hour show, I could tick the boxes for 2026 as well. But I might come back for 26.
I've only seen one film today, Eternity. I'm hoping to get 2 more films in. I think I'm going to watch the third of the Batman trilogy. I'll watch the other 2, and then I might also finish the night off with National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation, because that is always a fucking winner. Because I'm on my own again. The child is coming.
Don't lift the lid on films. It's been an awful year for films, and an even worse year for TV series. But don't lift the lid on that box, because we'll be here all night.
I was a friend of mine who does Twitch, and he was going through. He's an affiliated or a recognised film critic, and he did his top 50 films of the year. And I said, I've watched 39 films this year that were from 2025. The highest rating again any of them was a 7.
What film was that then?
Oh, it was Roofman, the bloke about the penguins with Alan Partridge. Turns out he was noncing up all the kids. That came out after the film. Oops.
Wonderful.
That technical term.
Yeah. But the best film of the year for me was probably Atomic Blonde. Never seen it before. I went on a Charlize Theron splurge. I watched 6 of her films in 3 days, and Atomic Blonde was magnificent. There you go.
No further questions, Your Honour.
Silence. Yeah, so might talk about films a little bit later. It depends how quickly the football chat dries up or warms up. Let's say hello to the sad, lonely versions in the chat. Oh, it's Phil. Finally, something to do on New Year's Eve. Good. Yes. Sean said she could be here, but she's in Portugal in million-degree weather with her special boy and playing golf. So there you go. Nick's already started it with Banfield. Paul Nell, not Neil. Why are we waiting? Because Kris was 1 minute late, and then we were grilling him about it. Yeah, true. So that's the reason why. VX Gunner is there. Good evening. Greetings, everyone. Phil says, hello, ladies. Happy New Year to you all. Yeah, I don't like it when people say Happy Christmas. I want to throttle them so they don't make New Year. It's Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. And nothing else is acceptable. Oi, oi from Neil. Paul, Neil. Hope you 3 had a great Christmas. Yes, I did. Yes, here's a little picture. Boop. There you go. There's my sperm and me. And this is what I look like now, because I was saying to these two, Sean bought me a new shaver for Christmas. Like I said to Kris, I started on level 10. I thought that was too short, too long. So I'd put it on level 3. I might as well just fucking shaved it all off. What was the rule of thumb you gave me, Chris?
You always start high and work your way down.
Boobs first is only polite.
I was going to say, which is what I say to all the ladies.
Shaving your beard is much like making love to a beautiful woman. Not like any of us would know.
Speak for yourself.
Well, you keep that to yourself.
And Nick has a young lady, so yeah.
No, he's been with her more than a year. She's only with him for his game collection.
Yeah, I can't get her off the Xbox. She's done 130 hours on Oblivion in 3 months.
Not bad. I've just installed Skyrim on my remastered on my PC. So yeah, and it said add some mods. Don't do that. It's a fucking nightmare. We all know where your hand has been, Nick, dirty boy. Wait, isn't this Pornhub? Says Mr. Boblex. Cy is there. Hello, and fuck Aston Villa. Bob says I was at the match yesterday. Oh, do tell us about it, Mr. Boblex. It was one hell of an atmosphere for the second half. Phil says I look 30 years younger with a it's not a complete shave. It's about 3 days growth. Fuck.
No, we all agreed that you look like Michael van Gerwen after a stroke.
I certainly do. That's the best bit about it. Why am I clean shaven? That's why I've explained that about the thing. Yeah, normally I have an old hair trimmer that I use, but it's just years old and it only does half my face and needs recharging again. So I got angry and said to Sean, buy me this. And Stan, who I invited on the show tonight, but unfortunately he's working. Hi everyone, hope you had a great Christmas. Gutted I'm working and couldn't make this panel today. There you go. Proof that I actually asked him. I do love podding with Stan. He's so much better than the rest of AVW that don't bother turning up. Says Mr. Boblex. Chris, what would you like to talk about first? I've got the details up for I've got the Premier League table. In case anybody wasn't sure who's top of the league, top of the league. We are top of the league. Woof. And then I've got the details for the Villa, Brighton, and Crystal Palace. Where do you want to start?
I mean, I feel like we should probably start with last night. It's relevant, isn't it? It's on the mind. I can't even remember. Brighton and what was the other game you've got? Who was the other?
4-1 Villa, 2-1 Brighton, 1-1 Palace, winning on penalties.
Oh yeah, the
and
Palace game.
Win Everton, which is quite rare for us.
Which is largely forgettable as well. Yeah, I mean, I think if you put all those into context, aside from the penalties against Palace, I think you could probably put all of those games to bed apart from last night, because I don't think anyone really, not to say that they weren't important wins, because of course they were, but yeah, I couldn't tell you much about Brighton other than the fact that we should have been 12-0 up and shat ourselves for the last 10 minutes and just about hung on, and yeah, the Everton game was largely just it was there, it happened, but yeah, that was it. But last night was, yeah, it was, how would I describe last night? Very satisfying for so many reasons. I believe Martinez is still trying to find his head, which is still on Mars, which is lovely because, it couldn't happen to a nicer cunt. Bang goes the X rating there straight away. Unai still looking for his handshake, of course. But yeah, aside from that, and don't get me wrong, like I have the older I get, the more I hate more and more opposition teams. Villa are right up there. Their fans are morons, excluding Jonathan Johnson, whom I like very much, who's a French football journalist. But apart from him, they're all morons.
We had an Aston Villa fan on quite regularly on here. Wonderful bloke, now working in women's football. Really good.
Okay. Well, I'll exclude him, but I don't know him, so I'll have to reserve judgment. But most Villa fans are morons. They'd all gone by the 60th minute last night, so they're a rather irrelevant club. And I just don't like them. They're just one of those clubs. And it's probably something to do with the fact we don't have a great record against them. But, they ran off celebrating like they won the World Cup when they beat us at Villa Park with a very fortunate last gasp winner. And they all thought that Christmas had come at once. And I've had to sit through the media banging on about how they're in the title race. And I sat here and went, no, they're fucking not. It's Villa. Like, it's Villa. Seriously. Q then winning the title in 2026. But, yeah. I just thought that second half in particular, the first half, the ball was in play for something like 4 seconds, I believe, in the first half, because Villa literally just spent the entire first half wasting time. Martinez took 7 weeks for every goal kick. And I agreed with...
He's got stuff off his shoes, though, hasn't he?
Oh, yeah, of course he does, yeah. And I actually agreed. I was listening to a journalist and he was saying that it doesn't matter if a team wants to waste time, go for gold, but you rely on the referee to add the time on. When 3 minutes went up at the end of the first half, we were all like, sorry, what? 3 minutes? Oh, no, Nana was down for 3 minutes, let alone all the Martinez delaying tactics. So, yeah, it was just very, very nice shithousery. Maybe we'll come on to the goals. I'll let Nick talk now. But, yeah, it's I think it's a really big, I think it's a very big psychological win because City, to quote Kevin Keegan, City have got to go to Sunderland and get something tomorrow, which I think they probably will because Sunderland are looking a little tired right now. But, yeah, I feel like we're in a good place and it's a morale-boosting win after limping through most of December.
Nick, what are your thoughts on the game? And did you watch it? Were you jumping up and down? Were you screaming at the cat?
Well, I was working last night, unfortunately, so I definitely wasn't watching it on my dodgy app at all.
You wouldn't do that.
No, I wouldn't do that. But
when you work your 8 hours, you work 1 minute early and 1 minute late.
No, I always leave off early. I don't stay there on time.
Your boss watches this.
Oh, he don't know. He don't know how to work the internet. But yeah, like the first half, like Chris, completely nothing to talk about. They were just wasting time and stuff like that. And I don't know what it is with Martinez, why he's just got a hard on for us since he's left. I mean, you know, he took the number 1 shirt between him and Leno, and then for some reason he wanted guaranteed that he was going to play first team football, which we wouldn't give to him. And then he's been crying ever since. And I mean, didn't even last year or last summer, he turned down the chance to go to United as well. It's just this typical player, you know, like big fish in a little pond syndrome. He knows that when he's at Villa, he'll have a man of the match performance and get loads of praise. But then the next 3 games, he'll play dog shit and let in 3 goals and nobody will say anything. But if he's at a big club, he'll get that grief and found out. So that's why he doesn't want to do it, because he doesn't rate himself enough highly as a footballer. I mean, did you also see, obviously he lost it at full time with that fan going down the tunnel, which could have been Mr. Bobalex. I'd love if it was. But did you actually see what he was doing before the game?
No.
Yeah.
Where he was warming up in the tunnel whilst sitting on the ball, doing the splits throughout the whole tunnel, so everyone was walking past had to step over him. So he was like moving his legs to just get in everybody's way. I was like, why are you irritating like the reserve team and all the coaches? I'm just like, if I'd have walked past him, I think I'd have just kicked him. I was like, what are you doing, you absolute fucking melt? But yeah, first half, nothing happened. And I was working, and then I came back, and all of a sudden we were 2-0 up. So, yeah, I've watched the highlights, but I mean, Chris will probably talk about it more than me because I've only watched the highlights. I didn't watch it live.
I think the only thing I would add to that, and Nick makes a good point. The first half was largely, it was one of those games where you sort of did a little bit of phone checking because not a lot happened. But the one thing that was a bit worrying, I thought, about that first half is that Villa it was a strange one because Mikel Merino, who we might touch on again in a moment, was sort of playing. It was almost like he was too high sometimes and not deep enough at other times. It was sort of like caught between 2 stables. And without Declan Rice, without the greatest midfielder in Europe, we were sort of exposed a bit on the counter. And every time I looked up, it seemed like Ollie Watkins was running through our entire back line, like literally with nobody around him. But for him, he had a bit of a weird night. I think it's his birthday, wasn't it? But he couldn't hit a Kazas with a banjo until the last minute. But that one chance, I think, when they went through and he had a gilt-edged chance and put it wide. And then there was the one with Saliba, which was actually brilliant defending, although the flag went up. I think it would have been one of those, like, on VAR, you'd have been going, oh, God. And big shout out to PGMOL, by the way. They must have had a terrible night last night. They tried so hard to deny us goals. They tried really hard to take goals off us, and they just couldn't. So sorry about that, guys. Better luck next year. But, yeah, it was the first half that we I wouldn't say we lacked drive. Like, we looked at it, we started well, but it just had it had that feel of like Villa are going to score here, and then they're probably going to go 2 up, and we're going to have to sort of drag it out and somehow rescue a point. Second half, though, I mean, it was just like Villa losing Onana was a big turning point. I don't think people have made enough of that. And as I say, our Spanish. The North London Iniesta, Mikel Merino.
As you were tweeting about a lot.
Yeah, I think he was a little fortunate, to say the least. But you know what? We've been on the end of some horrific decisions in the past. And, I think he was fortunate to get away with that shirt pull. That said, I don't think he should have been booked in the first place. Not that matters now. But yeah, we got away with that one. But yeah, I
looked at that, Chris. Do you think that they knew the first one was a bit harsh, so that's why they let him get away with the second one? They already knew, because they're all mic'd up, and they said, it's a bit harsh. Because I always thought if you're going to get 2 yellows, the second one always has to be like more of a yellow card than the first one type thing. It's sort of like, like an unwritten rule. Because unless you're Martinelli, you'd never really get 2 soft yellow cards in 10 seconds. But,
I do agree with you. I also think that referee I don't think he was very good last night. Like the amount of, as I say, we've already alluded to the time wasting. He just seemed to like, he didn't stop his watch and just let Villa just carry on. Like, just didn't do anything to curb that. And it was almost like he wasn't really in control of the game. I think it's one of those situations where if Merino had tackled him and it had been a foul, VAR would have pulled up, would have pulled us up, and he would have gone. So I do think he was fortunate, if I was a journalist, I would say we were lucky. I'm not a journalist, so fuck yourselves, Villa. Tough shit. Do you know what I mean? So, but yeah, on another night, we don't get away with that one. The second half performance alone, I mean, we just blew them away, and some of those goals. I mean, that Odegaard pass. I mean, he's a lightning rod at the moment. I don't know why. Well, because people and the internet can't be trusted together. But that pass, it was just a midfield runner's dream. That, and the finish was really good. Zubimendi, I honestly, I would drag my balls over broken glass to give that man a kiss on the forehead. He's just a wonderful midfielder. I said last night, he's Gilberto Silva on crack. Like he's got everything. He's just that good. So yeah, second half alone, we deserved what we got, which was a nice steamrolling of a shitty team, in my humble opinion.
I thought it was interesting how Saka had one of his worst games for us in maybe a generation. He was so quiet and nothing was going down on his side. I mean, a good job Trossard was having the game of his life, because if we'd have had nothing from both flanks, that would have been a nightmare. I'd have thought, well, Timber's back. Saka's playing in front of him. It's going to be like the old Xhaka association where everything's working wonders, but it just wasn't working down that right-hand side. So for us to have done that, demolished what some people would say is the 3rd or 4th best team in the Premier League, going by that run of 400 games in a row without straight wins or whatever it was. But for us to do that without Saka having a good game, and also Goalkeepers, unfortunately, he does a lot of work off the ball, but it's just not worked out for him so far. So to have 2 players who, I mean, their ratings were, Saka got a 6.8, Goalkeepers got a 6.3, and then Odegaard 8.2, Zubimendi 8.2, Mourinho 7.4. I think Mourinho did a good job stepping in for Declan Rice, didn't he? I mean, maybe he stepped in a little bit too hard, but he was definitely up for a fight, wasn't he? Which is important, that Mourinho can come in, he can play 10, he can play up front, he can play the 8, he can play the 4, he's playing the defensive midfielder, the central midfielder. That's the kind of players we need. He's the modern day El Neni. He's the modern day Flamini.
But better. Did you see Martinez's score was 4.1? Couldn't make it up.
Oh, these are giving him a 4.9, but yeah.
Yeah, I can't remember what app it was like, but he was 4.1. No, I mean, you're right. And the thing with Saka as well is that he's been copping a bit of flack recently from some people saying he doesn't pass enough, he's selfish and all this. And it's like, I don't personally buy into that. It's you can't keep on. It's a bit like City with Haaland. You can't. You have to have more options than one player. You can't just go, oh, we're struggling, let's give it to Saka every time. And that's kind of what I liked about that performance last night, because as you said, I can't remember him really barring a few corners. I can't remember him doing very much at all. But he's one of those players now that he's so good, and we know how good he is, that he has to be marked at all times. He's a constant threat, even if he's not on it. So teams will always have one, if not 1.5, if not 2 men on him at all times. So that frees up the space. And as for Trossard, I mean, like, I know some certain members of our podcast who might have a Brighton affection are not big fans of him. I think he's been brilliant. I think he's been absolutely brilliant. And people talk about big game players. This guy steps up time after time after time after time. And he's just one of those. I kind of love the fact that he always looks miserable, because it's just like, he always thinks he can do more. Yeah, he has. And but what a footballer, for a guy who so many people were like, oh, just sell him. And it's like, yeah, replace him with who? Like, there's nobody you'd replace him with right now. And it is kind of funny that Eze and Madueke and Martinelli are struggling to get game time now because of how good Trossard is. And fair play to him. There's always, he reminds me, and I don't want to tempt fate, but he reminds me of the season that Freddie Ljungberg had when we last won the title. Just breaking the lines from midfield, scoring crucial goals at crucial times, albeit in a different way. But yeah, I love Leo, and it was good to see him on the score sheet, and Jesus as well. And that was a hell of a finish, by the way, watching that back. So couldn't have gone much better, really.
Nick, what do you think to Trossard? I thought his first season or his first half season, I thought he got loads of goals, but I'm looking. He got 7 in 17 for Brighton. Then he came to us, he got 1 in 22. And then the next season was his peak season, 17 in 46. Last season, 10 in 56. And this season, he's got 7 in 22 already. He's rejuvenated.
I mean, I like him. I mean, I'm surprised we don't buy more players like that, Premiership ready, just come in and just do a job and go under the radar. I think because we signed him for like 27 million from Brighton, it's not like the Hollywood 90 million pound signing from wherever in Europe that everybody wants off Football Manager. He was just getting just like a lot of crap. But I mean, isn't he like our top goal scorer this year already? I think he's our top. Yeah, I think he's our top goal scorer. Is he?
I don't know. I'll have a look. I don't think he is.
He's up there.
Yeah, I think it's. Man City have got the problem that Haaland is scoring 8 goals a game, and Foden is scoring some. But other than that, it's Trossard, Goalkeepers, and Saka all with 7, and Martinelli on 6.
Yeah,
but Man City. Remember the days when we used to have Ian Wright? If Ian Wright didn't score, we didn't score any goals. So it's great having a goal scorer who can get you 35 a season, but not when no one else is scoring. And that's what Man City have got, Nick. But we've got the fact that everybody's scoring goals.
Yeah, I mean, up until a few years ago, I mean, that's why I ain't going to give him too much grief, Saka, because I mean, we don't know whether or not he's carrying a slight knock, just getting through. Plus, I don't think it helps that as he had like a different fullback behind him about 5-6 games in a row. I think Timber was out, then Ben White was back, then he was out, and then we've had Hincapié, and I think I'm sure he's had like 5 different right backs in 5 games or something like that. And like Kris says, he's always like marked with 2 players on him, so if he's, I still think he's a decent player, but I'm not going to give him too much grief. But yeah, it's just, I'm glad that we're scoring goals from all over, because if we just had one player scoring, we'd be screwed because he'd probably be injured.
I love this from Stan. He says, my missus says that Trossard looks like a sickly child that you find in a Victorian orphanage.
It does look a bit Tiny Tim, doesn't it?
Oh, dear. Yeah, just reading some of the comments on here. Charles says, player of the calendar year 2025. If it were to go, will it go to, for me, Trossard, his is Perth and Gabby after the neck and neck, our neck and neck. What do you reckon? Who, of 2025 only, who are you going to give it to, Chris?
It's Gabriel for me in terms of player. No. I mean, like, don't get me wrong, Trossard's been brilliant, but Gabriel, you just see what difference he makes. Like last night when you saw him come back in, he's just so effortlessly good. And the thing I love about Gabriel is that he makes Saliba a better player as well. That's when you've got a really top level centre back.
That's changed though, because before it was always Saliba that was the best one.
Well, Saliba's
more cultured.
He's the more cultured. He's the silky. He grabs the attention in terms of the way he plays. But Gabriel is just what you want as a defender. No nonsense. Put his foot through you and the ball. But he's a leader as well. His English has come on leaps and bounds, which helps. I think Mikel said last night he was due to be out for 8 weeks. He's come back in 6. And let's not forget as well that he came from Lille. I don't know if anybody knows, but I'm quite a big fan of the French league. So just goes to show you don't have. Yeah, exactly. You don't have to pay £55 million, or £100 million, Chelsea, to find good quality players. You can actually go to leagues that are not very fashionable and find gems. And let's not forget, Saliba also came from.
Well, it's not about paying 100 million for a decent player. Is that player for sale? Would you take 100 million? That's the Chelsea way. Chelsea fans are so angry now, aren't they?
No, the Chelsea way is: would you take 100 million and then we'll sell him on for 60 million at a 40 million loss next summer
to Strasbourg?
To Strasbourg, yes, we'll sell him to ourselves. But yeah, no, for me, a loss. For me, it is Big Gabby, and don't get me wrong, Declan Rice has been unbelievable. But if
you had to have a 1-2, a gold and silver, who are you going to go for?
I mean, me personally, I would go Gabriel, just because I think with Rice, you just always know he's going to give you, a 9 out of 10. I think whereas with Gabriel, I think his level has gone up. Rice has always been at the top level, if that makes sense. And that's not to denigrate or to to put Rice down anyway. It's not at all. I just think for me, you've seen how we've been without Gabriel on the team, and it's funny. As soon as we take him off last night, we concede. So I just think he's really important to the longevity of this team, and like heaven forbid he gets any more injuries, because he's just really, really important.
Before I ask you, Nick, to wax lyrical about our beautiful players, Mike Axford 270. Hold on. Found somewhere that sells Lucozade Zero. That isn't for Mike. That is Lucozade Zero. It's got 0 calories, as the name might suggest. I haven't been able to find that for 6 of your finest British Earth years. Finally found someone who does it. Tesco. So today I had my Tesco delivery. 21 bottles of that. And it was a young bloke from Zimbabwe. I don't know, I spoke to him. I remembered, he'd been here before. He's a Chelsea fan. And he put them all in my hallway cupboard for me, because Tesco, in their infinite wisdom, don't give you bags with their shopping. Riccardo, have all the bags you want, sir. Anyway, Mike says, what happened to my beard? I've got rid of the photo. It's a picture of me and the sperm. Here it is. This was me at Christmas. And there's my sperm to the right-hand side. Luckily, she didn't get my nose. And then, as you can see, me now. Sean bought me a beard shaver, and I put it on level 3. And took too much off. And I thought, fuck. I was going to grow a Tom Selleck mustache, because it's long enough to have done that. But then she said she'd disown me, so I decided not to. Nick,
it happens with them clippers. I remember when we got those Manscaped sponsors a few years ago. I done it when the clipper fell off.
Sold mine.
Oh.
I've still got mine.
I sold mine for 85 quid. Didn't even use it. Bish bash bosh. Lovely, thank you. Right, so Chris is giving it Gabriel, and in second place, Rice. What are you going to go with?
Yeah, pretty much that, Gabriel and Rice. Like I say, Rice hasn't done anything wrong, but he's had, other than the 2 good goals against Madrid, he's been just as good this year as he was the previous year. So, like Gabriel, he scored a lot of important goals for us, like these set piece goals, which you know, whilst not like overly important, you know, scoring the set piece goals has made these sides come out and not park the bus so we can let them pick them off. And we noticed the last few weeks, you know, where because we haven't had him and scored a lot of set pieces goals, we've had a lot of games that are a lot tighter.
Yeah,
you know, we take that out, take that out of your arsenal. You know, it's always another way to score a goal. So
as we saw last night, he had Martinez and a defender trying to choke slam him in the air at the same time. That just leaves room for other players, doesn't it?
I did think that was hilarious. Like Martinez, we were just going to keep slagging off constantly. And he was complaining to the ref that he wants the goal disallowed because he was pulling Gabriel's shirt. I'm like, no, that's not how a foul works, mate. You don't pull someone else's shirt and get the foul. That's a penalty, you moron. He doesn't do himself no favours, does he?
Stan says no. His missus says he says I look like the moody guy in the orphanage that refused to give Trossard more than one bowl of porridge. So Gabriel, there's a picture, Nick, that you were talking about.
He just stood there and like everyone who was coming out, they all had to step over him. He just refused to move. I'm like, are you really going to do your warm up there?
A swift kick in the testicles.
Yeah.
Would do wonders there, Chris.
You see that guy at the back. I just want to kick him, don't he? You could just.
I mean, to be fair, he's an Argentine, and you know, do I need to say anything else? Do I really? I mean, I could just give you a list of Argentines that are cunts: Christian Romero, Enzo Fernandez, racist, Martinez, obviously. I mean, basically, 90% of the Argentinian side are cunts. So, you know, he's in good
the right back that we had. It was mental.
Vivas.
Argentinian.
Vivas.
That's it, Nelson Vivas.
Never
you see him as a manager. He didn't even rip his own shirt off. Isn't he assistant manager? Go on.
Atletico, yeah. He's assistant to Simeone. I will never forgive him for Ellen Road when he let Hasselbank go. I just can't forgive him for that.
Yeah. I see. Nick, so who you put in Gabby first, and who's your second?
Rice.
So I'm not going to go with you two. I think Gabby's been really important, but for me, I'm going to put first Raya. Some of the shit that he has managed to do this season, the saves that he has made, even when all is lost, he's still on his hands and knees getting shit done. I'm going to bring the thing up here. There we go. I mean, that, Chris. Is that save of the season, or is the triple save from last night save of the season?
Weirdly, I think the save he makes on the line from fat ass McGinn is arguably better because of the reaction time. That one is sensational because it's not just about the fact that he gets up there to stop it; it's the fact that he is able to flick it up and away over the bar. You see so many times like keepers in those sort of positions just parry it down into the floor and someone comes in and tucks in the rebound. I mean, you have to say, and I know, you know, we're all Ramsdale appreciators here. I think, well, you know, he didn't do very much wrong for us, but I think when we signed Raya, I think a lot of people were like, really? Like, do we really need to be spending money on another goalkeeper? Mikel always knew, clearly, and more importantly, Iñaki Kanya clearly knew. But yeah, I mean, you'd find it. I don't think there's a better keeper in the league that I can think of. There he is, stupid twat. I can't think of a better goalkeeper. I know there's the argument for Donnarumma, who I think is massively overrated, and anyone who's listened to my French football mutterings, even when he was at PSG, myself,
that's why they got rid of him. Isn't his distribution, or is it with his feet, is awful?
It was more to do with his contract dispute, but when it was clear he wasn't going to sign a new deal, PSG wanted a better keeper on the deck. So yeah, that does make sense. But me and Jez were saying for months, okay, he had that worldie against us. Donnarumma's shot stopping is not really in question, but his command of his area, his cross taking, and you know, his overall game, including his distribution, are awful. And he's always got a mistake in him. Pickford, I've never understood the obsession with Jordan Pickford. I just think he's a jack in the box, and he's one of those, like, he's a YouTube keeper, Pickford. He makes those outstanding saves and he lets one through his legs. like 3 times a season. But of course, he plays for the English national team, so therefore he's got to be good, right?
Worth 100 billion.
Yeah, of course he is. But yeah, I mean, other than that, I mean, I suppose you could say Alisson, he's still top level at Liverpool, though I do think he's probably on the decline. But yeah, I don't think there is a better keeper than Raya. There's a few in Europe. Jurrien Garcia at Barcelona, who ironically we were trying to get, is a fantastic keeper. There's a couple of youngsters in France that are nowhere near Raya's level, but are on the rise. But yeah, I just think we saw an upgrade path. I don't know why Ramsdale didn't play for Newcastle last night. By the way, I saw Pope was back in, so I don't know if don't know if he's been dropped again. But yeah, I think we upgraded massively.
Maybe his dad did another podcast.
Yeah, that. Do you know what? All jokes aside, I don't think that helped.
No.
How vocal he was.
I'll tell you what, I mean, I've always liked Ramsdale. I'm always joking that, like, with that save there, I'm pretty sure Ramsdale would catch that and throw a 40-yard pass to Gyökeres and put it in the net. I'm just saying, I'm 90% sure. But I think when we had Ramsdale, when we were finishing like 8th and struggling a bit, we were conceding a lot of chances. He was making 4 or 5 really good saves a game and letting in 2. But whereas, like, once the season when we went for it, before we got Raya with him, a lot of the goals he conceded was like the first shot. Like, it was the first shot. Whereas I think with Raya, he might only have 2 saves to make the entire game. And his concentration is so, like, ready, and he's always looking. Whereas I think Rams are that half a second, maybe, where he's just not quite switched on as quick as Raya. I mean, like I said, in other ways, I think Ramsdale is a better keeper than him. But for what we needed then, Ramsdale's good. What we need now, when we're only going to concede a couple of shots a game, Raya is the better keeper.
And don't forget as well with Raya, like, he's not flawless. We've seen even this season, he's dropped a few bollocks, whereas his kicking has been questionable, and there's a few where he's sort of given the ball away in dangerous areas. But that's what you get with a keeper who plays the way he plays. But the difference of his overall the security he gives you, and don't forget, he's got one of the best defenses in the world in front of him, so that helps. But he's still got to organise that defence. It's an underrated skill of a goalkeeper. He's still got to be commanding. He comes for crosses really, really well. He's very athletic. He's very agile. I just think he's and he's quite vocal from what I gather from people who go to games. Like, it's not the side you would imagine him to be, but he is pretty vocal. So yeah, I think I do think we upgraded in the long term, and he's definitely one of the best out there. There isn't a keeper that I would say, I'd rather have X. Do you know what I mean? I can't think of many that I would rather swap him out for.
Yeah, and he's I didn't realise he's 6 foot tall. I mean, Ramsdale's only 6'2", but it looks like Ramsdale's 6'4", and he's about 5'8". He's there's also David Raya, isn't it? Not David. He's made that clear in interviews. No, my name's David. I don't know if he's trying to fit in or not.
He can call himself what he wants, to be fair. He can call himself Juan if he wants. I don't care.
Charles says that it's been reported that Christopher Nolan, the greatest director of all time, was spotted in the crowd yesterday with an Arsenal scarf. I've seen that photo as well, and everyone knows it's genuine. Well, I saw a photo of him with a scarf, but it was quite zoomed in, so he could have been on the beach in Marbella for all I know.
I couldn't tell you what Christopher Nolan looked like if you put a gun to my head.
No, nor could I.
There you go.
His films are some of my favourite. All 3 Batman, Interstellar. Did he do The Prestige? I mean, if you want a really good film, go and watch The Prestige. It is a 9 out of 10 film with a twist at the end. You go, I've done a wee.
Not sure about his latest one that he's doing, though. That looks a bit rough.
What's that?
Whatever. It's that new Gladiator type one, isn't it? I can't remember what the name of it is.
The sequel to Gladiator?
No, it's like Gladiator, but it's not. It's called something else. Somebody in the chat will know. But the trailer came out and it looks very. It's got I think it's Matt Damon.
Oh, the one with the Troy. That
yeah,
kind of
like that. Yeah. It looks a bit. Yeah, it looks a bit.
It looks a little bit box ticky.
Yeah, the Odyssey. There you
that.
go. Thank you, Charles. Yeah, the Odyssey. That's the one. Yeah.
Yeah. So the era of that is finished. Stop it. Behave. Act like it's 2015 again and call everyone horrible names. That's I was in my prime then. Oh, great days. Nick, anything else you want to mention about that Villa game before we move on and talk about Arsenal 2, Josh FC 1?
It's just weird because the last week I've never heard so much bullshit from the media just sucking off Villa and Emery, and just like, and I'm like, they were trying to big them up so much, and I just love them all having an absolute meltdown last night and this morning. I was like, you don't like Villa, you don't like Emery, you just want Arsenal to lose. And it's just, they did that to Chelsea the week before we played them. I don't know what it is about the media just wanting us to lose. Yet the same media complain like mental when Man City run away with it. You just can't win with them, can you?
You certainly can't. Good point. Stan, this is why we need Stan on the pod. It says Martinez is the kind of guy that still refers to the Falkland Islands as the Malvinas Islands. Fucking hell, Stan.
He's not wrong.
You can't call Stan a racist. He's not pink, so he can say whatever the fuck he wants, and I agree with him.
We'll come on to freedom of speech later on.
Oh yeah, it's nearly 2026, people. We've got it back again. Right. So, please don't drop down to 0 viewers. We're joking. So Charles says, Chris, your customary take on our winter window links Boadi from Lyon, Stankovic from Bruges, and Biden from Corinthians. That's my Brazilian team.
Is that Joe Biden? He's a bit past
I
that
think
now,
it is. Definitely needed or good to have.
I would say of the three, and I must confess I don't know a huge amount about Stankovic. Boadi's from Lille, by the way. Boadi is being talked about as the next big thing to come out of France in terms of, I believe he is it Moroccan or Algerian? He's from one of the African countries. He's very much an Arteta type player, technical, low center of gravity, very skillful, transitions well. He's a very, who would I compare him to in our midfield? He's probably an Odegaard type. So I'm not really sure. I think if you were to buy him, it would be a case of it. You've got Nwaneri can't even make the bench, so I don't really see where Boadi gets in, if you see what I mean. But in terms of like future, he's the sort of player that you could probably get from Lille for 25-30 million and sell him on for 80. So he's the one that you'd look at long-term project-wise. As for Stankovic and Biden, I know nothing about Biden at all. It's a very Arsenal-type signing because we are looking at the South American market, so that would make some sense to me, but I'm assuming it's a youngster. Stankovic, I feel like I still find it a little bit hard to believe that we'll be active in this market, other than maybe something like a loan signing or a short-term deal, experience cover type of signing, because the squad is massive. Like I just don't see A, where we get the money, and B, where we fit them in. I know Mikel's come out and said, we're Arsenal will be active in the window. I don't think that's false. I think he is being honest there. I also think that's what he has to say. And it's a bit of a shot to our rivals, isn't it? By saying, "Oh, you might think our squad's great, but we can definitely add." It's one of those. But barring sort of an injury that's going to keep somebody out long term, I just don't see where we fit other people in. But I could see one, maybe even two, going out the door, both on loan. I would say. But yeah, in terms of bringing people in, I mean, like Mac has said in the chat there, I just don't really think we need to buy anyone. But that said, injuries, etc. We just can't keep everybody fit. So something has to give. I would definitely be open to a couple of loans. Because I think, can we bring in two? We can bring in 2 loans, can't we?
Yeah, because Arteta was quoted on Radio 5 today saying that he intends to bring in a couple of players, and he never usually says that kind of stuff, does he?
Yeah, but don't forget, managers are full of bullshit. Listen to Emery last night. Like, they don't tell the truth. It's all these interviews they give. It's token gestures. It's a load of rubbish. So I wouldn't buy into that too much. I do think they'll be looking. Berta is clearly a guy who's across a lot of things in the market. If I think the buzz phrase they use is like market opportunity, isn't it? Like if something really, really big comes out. But people are talking about this like, oh, why are we not in for Semenyo? And it's like, well, play him where? I said like Eze can't get inside. Nwaneri can't even make the bench. Like, I just don't think you need to be signing a player like that for a marquee situation. But if you could bring in, and don't ask me to name names because I really can't think of anybody. But if you can bring in an experienced defender, arguably like a Tomiyasu type, multifunctional, can play centre back and full back, something like that. And maybe another player in the sort of Norgard mould, but it's just somebody who, if you do need to give Rice a rest, you can put Norgard in knowing that if something happens to him, you've got another option. I probably would be keen to do that. And just purely for banter, I would love to see us get Sergio Ramos on a free. That would be quite funny. just purely for banter.
Didn't I read that he was trying to go and play for one of the big clubs before the World Cup?
Yeah, well, he's
Man
still...
United or someone? No, I said big club.
You said big club, Danny. Come on. No, I think Ramos. I believe he's 39, and he's retired.
Has he left the Mexican club yet?
Yeah, his contract's just expired, so he's gone. He's a free agent. But I think at 39, I think Premier League might be a bit above him. But just for experience, do you know? We haven't heard anything about the Ox, have we? He was training with us. I wouldn't be shocked. I wouldn't be shocked if we gave him a short-term deal. I don't think he's going to end up at West Ham, isn't he? Like that's going to happen. But I wouldn't be shocked if we offered him a short-term deal.
I'm just counting the days, Nick, until it's announced that Ramsey's training with us, and then an Ox, Ramsey, Arteta midfield three. Imagine that. Oh, it'll be glory days all over again.
Probably not. I mean, Ramsey will get
Thanks for that.
And Ox will get injured in the warm-up and we'll never see him again.
Still hasn't got his fucking dog back.
I don't know if it's good that we let so many of our ex-players come back and train with us.
And Beckham.
Where like their own clubs won't have them go. The clubs that they left us for won't have them back. And I'm
Barcelona wouldn't even recognise Thierry Henry if he did a big shit on the new camp.
That's like, it's a weird thing. That's like, would you let your ex-missus spend the night at you if there was nothing going to happen? Probably not.
I think it's a bit different to that.
Well, no, if she cheated on you if she cheated on you with your brother, you probably wouldn't, would you?
You probably would. I don't think it's a bad thing. I think it's no, I don't think it's a bad thing. I just think
we're not petty like some other clubs.
Yeah,
I think
exactly.
We try not to. We wouldn't get pissy like that, would we?
No, I don't. I think it's all about the individual. Like, I don't think Mesut Ozil would be welcome back to train with us at the moment. For example,
he'd hog all the weights, wouldn't he? Motherfucker, how long did we try to get him to bulk up, and he waited until he's retired to do it? What an absolute!
Now he's built like a brick shithouse. But yeah,
I was reading the comments.
Ozil. I don't feel like.
Have you seen him lately?
No, fuck him. The only way I want to see him is underneath my car.
But then again, I suppose he's not getting drug tested at the moment. That's probably why he's as big as he is.
That's probably why he's in the Mudryk camp.
I hate the cult following he has.
But all jokes aside, if you get the right eggs coming back, we let Tomiyasu carry on training even when he was released, didn't we? Until he went back to Japan for treatment and stuff. It's just I don't think it's a bad thing. I think it's a classy move by the club, and I don't think it's a bad thing at all. Because our training pitch is next to Watford's as well, isn't it? So we play a lot of inter-club friendlies, if you will. So things like that. I think it's just
looked over the fence and found Saka.
No, I believe Saka was was very much one of our own, shall we say? But yeah, no, I don't think it's a bad thing, and I'm not saying Ox is going to come in and be a game changer. I'm just saying if you were to shove a player into sort of backup like Carabao Cup team, you could do a lot worse than a former England international if he was actually fit. Do you know what I mean? So, but yeah, as I say, he'll end up at West Ham or Bournemouth or Everton. That's where he's going to end up.
Yeah, I don't know why. It's not like he was injured. He was at Besiktas, wasn't he, for 2 seasons?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, even Ainsley Maitland-Niles.
Conservative.
Thank you. Even he's playing almost every game for Lyon, isn't he? I mean, they've
Doing very well.
any players to replace him, but he's doing all right.
No, they got a few English lads over there. Tyler Morton as well, doing quite well in their midfield. Yeah. No, I'm all for it. I think, but as I say, I'm not saying the Ox is going to come in and I'm not even saying we are going to sign him. I'm just saying that if he did, come in on a 6-month deal, who was it that was it Keogh? No, it was Sol Campbell, wasn't it, that we brought back for 6 months when he was training with us after he'd gone? And so I mean,
we did bring Keogh back, sold him to Everton, and then he was at Villa, and then we bought him back, or the other way.
Oh no, I mean latter day Keogh, as in. Yeah, I think Campbell was the one I'm thinking of, where he'd gone and then we let him come back and they gave him a short term.
Did he go to Notts County or something where they had a billionaire owner, and then after 3 months realised he didn't have no money?
That's right. Didn't have any money, I understand. Yeah, exactly. And I think that's when he came back and actually played very well for us, if I remember rightly. But
and then he went 23 to Newcastle and retired.
He's a man who needs to look back at his career and go, really, I really need someone to give me a kick in the arse and say, stay the fuck where you were.
And while we're on the subject of former players, very nice to see Eduardo and his son at the game last week as well. That brought back some. Honestly, I've seen a lot of strikers in the flesh in my lifetime. Thierry Henry is obviously head and shoulders. Bergkamp is obviously head and shoulders. Eduardo, purely as a finisher, is the best striker I've ever seen live. His finishing was unreal. And if
what he scored on the outside of his foot, that volley, I'm just like,
Burnley, wasn't it?
Who does that?
Yeah, outrageous technique. He was a finisher before the word finisher existed. He was so good. And if he hadn't got that injury, we'd have won the league that year.
Better than Tony Woodcock and Lee Chapman. I think you're on one.
Definitely better than Chapman.
Woodcock. You're saying Eduardo. Are you on the puff, Chris?
No, honestly, I don't know. Forgive me, Mako. I don't know how old you are, but in that vintage,
he's older than me.
Okay, well, he would know, but trust me, he was. Again, I'm not saying the best player, I'm not saying the best striker, but a pure finisher. He was elite level, genuinely elite level.
No, he didn't really get the chance to show it, though, did he?
Well, he did until his leg got snapped in half.
He was in a declining Arsenal side where Wenger was more about not conceding than scoring for quite a lot of the time.
He was building a stadium with a piggy bank, to be fair.
True. He was taking the kits home and washing them to save money.
Yeah, bless him.
There's no need to talk about the Brighton game, really. We went 1-0 up with Martin Odegaard. Nick, fantastic goal from our captain. Is Odegaard back?
I think so. I mean, he's not been right for about a year, has he? I don't believe that at all. I think that's nothing.
You wait till you have one of the bastards. They're fucking arseholes.
Mate, I'm not a multi-millionaire in a big mansion with a missus, and nannies and stuff. The baby could be one side of the house. He could be the other side having a kip. If she's whinging at him to change nappies at 2:00 in the morning when we're away, Man United, he has by permission to disagree with her politely.
To give us some sweet chin music.
I nearly went there. But yeah, I just think a lot of these players, they're playing with so many little niggly injuries that they play through. And we can't come out and say, oh, Odegaard, he's not playing as well, yeah. Oh yeah, he's got a bit of a thing with his left knee. It's fine. It's not. He doesn't need an operation. But everyone, don't kick him in the knee. Do you know what I mean? Because we can't come out and say that. And I think he was struggling last year with a few knocks. Plus, like I say, in and out of the side a lot. But I think I was giving him crap the last few weeks because he does seem to slow the game down. But I don't want him to slow it down when we need to speed it up. And a few times where I think, you should have played that pass through, to Gyökeres, and he'd have had a shot and things like that. So it's very similar to Cazorla, how he used to play. And I was just sometimes I think he'd rather keep possession rather than gamble to actually score a goal, like keep it a bit too safe. But then I suppose he could then just keep losing the ball constantly as well. So, but yeah, hopefully he stays his back. But now Royce is out, hopefully not too long. I mean, that midfield's been moved around quite a lot this season, isn't it?
That's exactly the point I was going to make that Nick just hit on there. Odegaard is both. He's two things. He's a rhythm player, and he's had no rhythm because of those injuries. Much like Gyökeres, got that injury, and it took all his momentum away twice. And he's a player who relies on partnerships and a settled side. If you try and put a creative player in amongst 17 different other players, it doesn't work. When you've got a consistent, do you remember when we had that triangle, the Odegaard, Saka, White triangle last year, that right hand side? Its relationships are so important, and I think the thing you'll see the best of Odegaard when you've got Rice and Zubimendi consistently next to him, and Odegaard's fit. And I think the only criticism I would have of Odegaard at the moment is that there must be a reason why he's not releasing the same passes that he does for others, that he doesn't seem to for Gyökeres. And I do agree. I'm very on the fence with Gyökeres. Maybe we can delve into that a little later, maybe. But I mean, we can delve into it now, really. I tweeted the other day, and I said this about our dear friend and chum, Ollie Watkins. I don't think Ollie Watkins is a brilliant footballer, but I think if you put Ollie Watkins into the same games this year as Gyökeres, I think he would probably have scored 7, 8, 9, 10 goals this season already. That's just my opinion. I might be wrong. I think Watkins is a natural finisher and would suit this Arsenal team down to the ground. And I do think that if we'd have got him last summer when we could have done, we probably would
last January, wasn't it?
Yeah, exactly that.
And then you see, we had to let one of him or the Johan go. Johan fucked off to the Middle East. They've already loaned him out to something. He's in Galatasaray or somewhere like that.
Fenerbahce, I believe. Yeah, Fenerbahce.
That works out well, and he's still banging in goals.
Didn't he get 3 months injured for Villa as well, Watkins? I'm sure he missed a lot of time from him injured as well.
Yeah, he had an injury, and again this season he's not been brilliant with Villa. Like he's had scratchy form. But I watched him in that Chelsea game.
Dominic Calvert-Lewin, is he?
don't go there, for Christ's sake. But what I think the reason I sort of reference Watkins is he's an Arsenal type of striker. Again, he's not out and out blistering pace, but he's quick enough. He shoots on sight. He's a predator. Probably a bit more movement than Laka, bless him. But he's a workhorse who creates his own chances and he takes chances. And he's, as I say, he's a predator, not that type of predator. That's something entirely different. But yeah, he's a predatory striker. I don't think there is a reason to say that Gyökeres won't become that predatory striker, but I think there's these two camps of Gyökeres. There's he isn't getting the service camp, and then there's but he's a striker. Why is he not scoring goals? And I'm right in the middle because I do think his movement needs to be better. I do think that he came in and I don't think he's arrogant. I don't think he's arrogant enough to come in and think he was going to score the same goals he scored at Sporting. I mean, the Portuguese league, I think I'd bag 60 a season in there. But I think he thought the Premier League would be more accustomed to his style than it has been. And I don't think he's using his physical attributes as best he could. He's a big bugger and he doesn't have to get shoved off the ball a bit. But I do think that when we unlock him, I think he will get goals. I don't think he's ever going to be a 30-goal a season striker. He's never going to be a Haaland, and it would be unfair to expect that of him. But I think he's more of a sort of a 15 to 18 type of striker. But going back full circle to Odegaard, there has been times this season where you've looked at it and gone, Odegaard could have put him in there, and he just doesn't. And there has to be something in for a player of Odegaard's quality who, don't forget, who does Odegaard feed for Norway? Just saying. It's not like Haaland relies on, crosses from wingers all the time or, intricate passing moves. He relies on through balls from Odegaard at Norwegian level. So he is used to playing with a big physical striker like Gyökeres is. So there's clearly something not quite right there. But on the flip side, as I say, I want my strikers to score goals. We didn't buy Gyökeres to hold the ball up. We've got Kai Havertz who does a brilliant job at that. We bought Gyökeres to score goals, and he hasn't scored goals. So there has to be some accountability for that. But I do think there is something in this that he does offer a lot to the team, and we do look a better team with him in it than we did last year without a centre forward. So the acid test will be when Kai's fit. I will put my house on it. As soon as Kai is fully match fit, he will be first choice.
I wouldn't say with Gyökeres, he's not holding the ball up, but he's pulling players out of position. Next time you look, it does seem to be like, even though he's not getting the ball and not getting a lot of touches, he seems to have like two centre halves or a fullback and a centre half around him at all times, because they know if he gets half a shot at goal, it's going to at least be on target. And I think because he's been doing what he's been doing, that's why a lot of our midfielders and wingers have been scoring so many goals between them. I just think he's being probably less selfish than I think a striker should be, but he's letting them get that extra half a yard on the ball. So, I mean, it took us about a year to notice Havertz was doing that, really, didn't we? Where we were all just calling him useless Chelsea reject. And you didn't realise, if he, scores an extra 5 goals a season or 10 goals a season, you're just taking it away from the midfielders and giving it to him. So that's not increasing the team average. It's just taking it from one to the other. So, but like I said, other players, like strikers that aren't really scoring any goals, don't seem to be getting any grief in the media, like
that's what I'm
Liverpool
and
Chelsea and people like that. And I just think that the media having a go at him to deflect from the other teams, the other players not scoring the goals. But Danny's got some stats he'll give us.
Yeah, like Nick was saying, let's have a look and put it into some kind of context. Isaac, 125 million. We aren't going to go Premier League goals, because if you play in the League Cup and get 9 goals in a game against Rotherham, it doesn't count. So Premier League only, 2 goals this season. Next highest was Wirtz at 100 million. He has got 1 Premier League goal. Then there's Eberechi. He's got 8 for Liverpool, which is Eberechi. He's got 8. Sesko.
Most of them have been the last month, though, with him.
Hugo was 70 million. Benjamin Sesko was 66. He's got 2 Premier League goals. Next one is Umbreo. He has got 6, which isn't too bad. He costs 65. Nick Tomato, 65 million. He has got 7. That's pretty decent. And Matheus Cunha, he costs 62 million, and he has got 3 goals. Victor cost 3 million, and he has got 5. And then you've got João Pedro, who's got 6. So there's only really one person who's got more than him with 8. And so when you look at the fact that some of those players cost double what he did, he cost 60 odd, and some of the others cost 125, 100, 70, 66. It's not like he's a million miles away from it, especially when you go, Isaac has got 2 and Wirtz has got 1, and they're 125 and 100 million. We haven't bought a 100 million pound player from a top league. We've gone bought a player from a league that when you add up all the goals, you then divide it by 0.5, or you get 1.5 goals for the golden boot, because if you score a goal in the Premier League, it counts as 1 in the European golden boot. Or does it count as 1.5? They do something to the number to make it, because in Portugal, it's not as a tough league. So he's come from a league where he scored a load of goals. What did he get last season? He got 39 in 33 in the Portuguese league. But then in the golden boot, he didn't come anywhere near the top, because they rate the goals as different. So when you compare him to people who cost a similar amount of money, he scored more goals. 5 in 17. And you got a couple of those when he was playing coming back from injury, and he hasn't started all of those games either in the Premier League.
I think the way to look at it is if we win the league or the Champions League this season and he's scored 6 goals, I don't think anyone's going to give a toss. Do you know what I mean? Like, don't think anyone's going to care.
Well, he's got 2 in 4 in the Champions League.
Yeah, and like again, I don't think anyone's sitting here saying he's been crap. Like you know, he
Kris has cut himself off, busy pressing buttons, Nick.
Shocking, really.
It is terrible. So we might never know what Kris wanted, because the goblins may well have taken him away. Oh no, there he is. He's back again.
Oh, is that bad? They cut me off.
Your hot take was muted by Starmer. You need to reassess yourself. You're going to prison.
No, I'm just saying. I don't think anyone's saying he's been crap. I just think that I feel like, but at this part of the season, I think probably if people are actually honest, and you know there'll always be somebody who'll deny it, I think we probably thought he probably would have had sort of 8 to 10 goals by now. I think people would have, and I think some of the chances he's had.
He's got 7, so it's close to 8.
Yeah, I do you know what I mean? I think the output would have been higher. Cup. No, I think the other thing as well is it's a visual thing, right? Ekitike visually is more of an Arsenal striker to me, because he's wiry, he's quick, he's direct. Whereas Gyökeres, it looks like a milk float up front at times. Like he's a big old unit. He's not very easy on the eye, and that the visual narrative is written there.
Did you see that one where someone took a photo of him showing a bulging belly until someone took it from another angle, found another angle?
Yeah.
It was his 6-pack.
And you can't believe any photos in the age of AI.
Journalists are usually cunts, Kris.
Well, it wasn't AI; they were just being twats.
Yeah,
proper journalists. Well, you assume proper journalists, not twats off Twitter, were giving him grief. But I don't know what it is. It's just about us, and when we say, "Oh, everyone thinks that about their own club," but it's just that they always seem to treat us slightly differently than everybody else. Like even like years ago, I mean, I love like watching the Premiership years and stuff like that, and they used to talk about Thierry Henry. Yeah, he scored, got all these goals, and he's got the Golden Boot 3 years in a row, but he doesn't score enough with his head, does he? Who gives a fuck if he doesn't score with his head? There's always something to mess with their narrative that they just criticize. They they treat us slightly differently because I don't know, they just
want
to
a London thing, isn't it? People don't like London clubs
thing, a North South thing, but
yeah, and again, there's some very good journalists out there. Simon is one of the best. There's some very good journalists out there, but there's also a lot of in the era of Patreon and whatever else. They've got to sell their content sometimes. The shit that James Gunnerblog was getting for doing his job yesterday, fuck off. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, people say, "Oh, you call yourself a fan. You're leaking our injury news in the afternoon." It's his fucking job, you morons. Like, fuck off.
And if he did an article and he didn't mention it, they go, "Well, you call yourself a journalist. How didn't you know they were injured? He can't win either way."
You think Villa didn't know 3 days ago, and they had spies that told
which is
them.
Exactly the point he made last night. He was like, "If I knew, then I'm pretty sure somebody at Villa would have known." So
it's just weird for these strikers, because I've noticed like going back to last year, and it's all out there. Nobody seemed to go where all the people said they were going to go. Gyökeres was done deal going to Man United because his
old manager.
Sesko was a done deal going to Liverpool, and apparently we were getting what's his name from Newcastle, and that was all. Everyone seemed to have gone to something differently.
Anyone make you think, Nick, they don't know what the fuck they're talking about.
They don't know what the fuck they're talking about. We don't, but we admit it. We don't know what we're fucking talking about.
I was told in the summer, like before Gyökeres became prime centre, that the Sesko deal was basically done. Like we would literally, the deal was done. And I will not disclose who told me that, but he would know. That's all I'm going to say. And no, it wasn't Jeff. And then obviously something changed. And this is the thing with these big deals now. And this is why I don't believe in anything that Fabrizio Fraudinando wants to tweet anymore, because it's all just hits and clicks. It's the same reason.
So many times. If
I hear "Let's
go" more time.
Oh, don't even get me started. It's the same reason why people
who's the one who broke his leg at Liverpool?
Isaac, yeah.
Isaac.
Yeah. I mean, I said at the first pod of the season, he's going to Liverpool, done deal. And I got laughed at on the pod. You know, no one said you got that one right, Nick. Might have been because I said Eze was also going to Liverpool. So you get some wrong, you get some right. It's just that's what happened when you guess.
It's all, and don't forget, you know, Eze was basically Spurs until that phone call. Do you know what I mean?
Well, so
how things can change, but yeah, it's just, you know, it's genuinely, you know, you can choose who you want to believe, but ultimately, this isn't CFAX anymore. People, when you see somebody tweet something, or you see an article by somebody at The Athletic or a paid subscription, just before you fall into the trap that most of us do fall into, and I've fallen for rage bait a few times, but just take a step back and go, why are they saying this? And then you check, and they've got things monetized, and they've got, you know, it's the same reason why streamers or YouTube content creators make wild thumbnails or headlines, is to make you go, oh, I must click that video, because once you've clicked, there's the money done. And that's
like
it.
Last year, Chris, I think you said it, like they said Ollie Watkins coming to us, and we thought, well, they're now sold or about to sell, what's his name, to Saudi League. They're not going to sell both of them. So why did they get the media to put that out, to make those people think, well, we'll have to just give them that extra money now, because if they sell him to Arsenal, they're not going to sell both. So it wasn't put out there because he was going to Arsenal, or they wanted to sell him, or he wanted to go. It was for another player to get done.
Yep.
I mean, if everything that was, you know, put out there, that all the transfers got done, they'd never actually get to play, because you'd constantly be moving, wouldn't you? I mean, I remember that one year where I thought, yeah, you don't know what you're talking about, which was, I think that was the year we signed Ozil. I think John Cross had said that we'd agreed to buy something like 65 players in one summer, and we signed one. And I'm just like, yeah, you're just full of shit, aren't you?
And don't forget, you can have deals basically done and then change your mind, which is what I'm led to believe happened with Sesko. You know, essentially we had a deal done, it was all agreed, the player was agreed, and then Leipzig went, oh, by the way, another 10 million, and we went, no.
Yeah, but if they put them on the transfer list, which they don't, well, apparently that still is a thing. You can put people on the transfer list. Like I think Eze was put on there, and I think Spurs put a bid in and they said fine. We put a bid in and they said fine. And Eze went, yeah, we'll go to Arsenal and we'll go to Spurs.
Yeah.
So it's not that no one did anything wrong. It's just when they're put on the transfer list, you know, loads of people can put in offers and they can accept them. That don't mean that he's going to go there.
Yeah, exactly. Look at Semenyo. I mean, you know, he's basically said from the outset that if an option of Arsenal was available, that's where he would have gone. But of the options available to him, he's going to sign for City. And apparently, Chelsea, Spurs, Liverpool, and Man United have all credited with interest, or all had discussions with Bournemouth about the deal. But he's made it very clear he wants to go to City. I mean, how they're still able to do business. 115 charges, by the way. Remember that? Lovely, great.
They own 8 clubs and they move the Price of Football podcast was explaining it really well. He said, if you as Man City have got a bill or a cost for using something like a training facility or a player finding app, you can go, well, this has cost City Group £8 million. That's a £1 million per club. And that's how they spread it around. That's how businesses do it. That's why Microsoft is based in Ireland, or is Apple, or something like that. So then all the bills get paid in this country, and then you go and use your other ones in other countries at 5% rate. Tax rate, or some countries like the Cayman Islands, it's 0. That's how they. And eBay is Luxembourg, I think. You have a look at the bottom of your eBay page.
And we all know. We all know that City, you know, it doesn't take a genius to work out. We all know City are corrupt as fuck, and they've been, you know, dodging shit for. But we also all know that nothing will ever come of those charges. We all know this.
But be fair to him, Chris. The amount of clubs, including us, over the years, have benefited from their spending.
Yeah,
you know, we've sold them some average players from decent money, which helped us out a lot around credit crunch. You know,
Yeah,
we were
they bought Colo, Adebayor, and Clichy at brokers, and they jumped over immediately.
But the money we didn't have from 2008 and what we lost through, you know, hybrid development, and what we know at the time that we lost about 80, 90 million through that development, you know, and how tight we were. Just imagine how bad we'd have been if we hadn't have got good money for them. I mean, Wenger did invest well, you know, to get players to keep us in top four. I know we didn't challenge for the league for a long while, but yeah, same as a lot of other clubs. You know, Villa have profited, you know, 100 million for Grealish. I mean, he was there for 2 years, pulled his socks down and then left, didn't really do much. A lot of other players like Leicester, you know, so they've all benefited and took this money and used it to at least try and make their clubs better. So I don't think that's why I don't think most of the clubs are that fussed if they're doing it.
The bottom line is, don't believe anything you read. I've always, especially when it comes to transfers, I've always been old school. Until the player is standing in the centre circle holding up the shirt, don't believe anything. And even then, you can't believe anything if you're John Obi Mikel.
I have this talk about bullshit. You know. I've got AI to make me this. People that listen at home on the bus and having a poo.
I've seen you tweet that.
Stop talking bollocks thing, like a big sign saying it with a hat and lights and things like that. And I find that works really well to shut some of these fucking idiots up. Just want to have a look at the Premier League table. Arsenal at the top, 19 games played, 5 points clear. We've only lost 2 games. Everybody else has lost at least double the number of games. Like John was saying in our group the other day, no one wins the Premier League if you lose more than 3 games. So I don't know if that's actually true, but I believe it because John said it. We've conceded the least amount of goals. We've got the second best goal difference by 1. Which Ollie Watkins, so I'm going to let him score because it's his birthday. Talking of birthdays, happy birthday to Max Dowman. 16 years old today. In a year's time, you're about to sign your first contract with Arsenal. Imagine all those Pokemon you'll be able to buy. Ooh. And get a Shiwaddy poster for your bedroom wall, son. Don't know you're born. Chris, none one actually. There's no need to talk about this, but I have made this, people. At home walking the dog or having a bath. This is because our very own Femi, God bless his soul, he used to say, we're going to get 1 injury per game. This, looking at the screen, is every single, this is by Transfer Market. None of this is my own work. In the version I've got a Google Sheets of this, and it has a link to every single article. And it says source with an S-A-U-C-E, but no one's pulled me up on that. I think it's funny. First one, Gabriel Jesus started the season injured. So before he missed 115 games and 115 games. Jesus. No, I missed 22 games and 115 days. So the gist of this is, people, we have had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22 injured players, separate injuries, ranging from 136 days for Kai Havertz to 2 days for Declan Rice. And it's got a total at the bottom. These players, only this season, 136 games have been missed by our players in a cumulative number of days. 717 days this year have been missed. Chris or Nick, anybody anything to say on this lot? Because that is, until you look at the, because Femi was going another one and another one and another one. Until you look at it, you go, don't tell us we haven't had an injury crisis, eh?
Go on, Nick.
Well, I don't know, because the whole screen went blank for a few seconds, so I don't really know what Danny just said. I don't know if that was my side or the whole pod.
I was just saying numbers. I was saying how many our players have missed out 136 games this season and a total of 717 days out just for this season. And what did I say? 29 injuries, 31 injuries? I can't remember now, so long ago. What do you think about that, Nick?
I mean, I think I said it before, like at the start, I think because we had such a small squad for the last 2 or 3 seasons, Arteta didn't really trust anyone and, any of the subs. It's just, and they all got injured towards the middle of last season, like Havertz, Martinelli, Jesus and all that. I just think we're still struggling from that now, from like having because, you have so many players out injured, everyone else has to play more minutes. You can't get subbed off with half an hour to go. when we're 4-0 up, because one, we're not 4-0 up, and two, no one can come on. So you have to play 90 minutes. I think that's why didn't Saka play something like 50 games in a row or something stupid?
I think he didn't miss a game for 2.5 seasons in the league.
Something like that, which is thing. And I just think, it's just going to be the knock on for that. And hopefully towards like now in the end of the season, that slows. I mean, we said earlier, we didn't have to rush Odegaard back because we had, Eze and people like that. We didn't have to rush Saka back this year because, we had Madueke and then he got injured, which is annoying. But yeah, we've actually got a decent squad. So hopefully Arteta can manage that a bit more in game, which I think he has been doing a lot better this year. Like in-game management and taking players off and stuff like that. I mean, I've even seen subs in the 60th minute, like for years with Wenger, wait until the 75th minute to have anyone took off. But yes.
Weirdly, it's only been recently that he's reverted to type a bit, isn't it? Like recently we seem to have gone back to old Arteta who doesn't want to make changes. Like, it's been, I have a theory that Eze, for example, I think he's still in the doghouse from Villa Park. I refuse to believe anything else because he didn't mark his man. He let his man go for the opener at Villa when, was it Matt Cash scored? Was it Cash? I think it was. Whoever it was, he scored. He let his man go and they got the first goal. I don't think Arteta is one of the, we know what he's like. Like we know he's one of those who will, basically hold a grudge. And Madueke's hardly got any game time either. I wonder with Madueke, he always strikes me as a guy who's, it was part of the reason why I wasn't particularly keen on getting him from Chelsea personally at the time. Attitude. I have this sort of suspicion that he might not be the best trainer, and I could be completely wrong on that. It's purely speculation on my part, but that's just how I see it. But yeah, it is ironic that we have all of a sudden sort of started not making those key subs at key times again. Last night was good. I thought we managed the subs well last night. Getting Marino off before he was sent off was a good choice. But yeah, on the injuries, I've said it since day one, and I will continue to say it. That it is purely to do with how we play the game. Like that, these athletes are, and I wish Dom could speak on this because he would articulate it far better than I can.
Anymore.
He still talks to us in the other group, but strength and conditioning as a runner, as I am now, I would know you simply cannot be under conditioned, but you sure as hell can be over conditioned. And I'm just convinced that these players, the style of play, the fast twitch fibers, etc., they are, like, do you know, like when one of your parents or your grandparents, like your granddad's era, you could take the dog for a walk, pick some dog piss covered raspberries off a hedge in the middle of nowhere and eat them and be absolutely fine. You could like pull a raw steak out of a cow's ass and just eat it uncooked and he'd be fine. The modern day, you only have to like sniff and you've got fucking malaria in this modern world because we're all hyper conditioned. Like we have to be.
Depends who you're buying off, Chris.
Well, that's also true, and who you snort off as well. But I always bring it back to like gym culture of this modern era where it's like everything is protein, gains. Talk to the Olympic athletes in the 80s. They didn't have fucking protein and fucking pre-workout and all this dog shit, and they were still very, very good athletes. Daily talks,
all they had was booze, fags, and birds.
Well, yeah, don't get it wrong. I'm not saying sports science hasn't come a long way. It has, but I'm just saying that I don't think a player, having the odd kebab or having a day off here and there, or not constantly thinking about their elitism, I don't think is the marginal gains. But in this data-driven world we live in, I would imagine that a club like Arsenal are absolutely, the marginalist of marginal gains. I blame Pep for all this, by the way, because he's just weird and he started all this like micromanaging.
Scratchy face. What the fuck is that about? He needs to put mittens on him like a newborn baby when it bites its fingers. Mitten him up.
he just needs to be shot out of a cannon to the MLS and be done with him. But I just feel Mac has just put it in the chat. If people talk to go for a dog walk, they got to take 10 pints of water, or you've got to be constantly drinking water.
When did that start? You know,
I don't know. And you know the funny thing is, in 2, 3, 4 years down the line, they'll all turn around to you and say, "Oh, don't drink too much water. That's way too. You'll be ill. You'll be ill." It goes in. It's like flares. They go out and they come back into fashion. It's honestly, it's bollocks. Throw-ins, long throw-ins. They've come back. They were gone. They're all back. It's cycles. It's absolute cycles. I'm not saying that the Arsenal team. Yeah, 4-4-2.
Didn't Teta say that he'd like to play a 4-4-2, two up front?
I don't think we'll ever play a 4-4-2, but I do think we'll play a 4-2-3-1 or a 4-3-2, 4-3-1-2 or something. But I just think with
4-1-4
that as well, a variation of two up front I think could work. But as far as the injuries, I'm not medically trained. It's just my old-fashioned, miserable, sod opinion. But I think the players are so highly strung now that what we would run off in Sunday League terms, they just can't. They're so tightly wound that the instant anything goes. Look at Ben White. You know, he's fit for years, and all of a sudden, injured every week.
I think you got something there, Chris, because when you see a lot of these games that go extra time, and people are going down with cramp, I just thought they're all faking it. But then I was just like, well, is it that they've just basically been trained so well that they've only trained for like 90 minutes, and any more than that, their body just can't cope?
Yeah, I agree.
Plus a lot of games I think we've had recently as well. Let's say like against Villa last night, the game was done after 65 minutes. So we're cruising for half an hour in theory. And a lot of games where we're spanked teams and we're winning 3-4-0 up, even if I saw like half time, the game's done. We don't have to put as much effort in, the same as the other side. They're just like, don't humiliate us. Let's have a kick about the second half. Don't put too much effort. And I think that's why Rice got so mad when we just sneaked it against Wolves. That's the sort of game we should have been 4-0 up after half an hour and had been on cruise. And then we could have took him off at half time, give him a rest. And then 55 minutes, we could have just rested and crib. But because we've had so many tight games, 2-1, 2-1, last minute, own goals scoring, that we've just been putting so much effort in. That's why we've had so many injuries and stuff like that. Because we're just, whereas like Man City over the years, the games are done at half time, aren't they?
Yep.
And we're not doing that, are we?
And it's that age-old argument as well, Nick, isn't it? And it's like, these managers who sort of rest players in cup competitions and then have to bring on the big guns. Start with the strongest team, get the game won, then take them off. Like, there must be a reason.
Yeah, I always love going back to like Invincibles and stuff like that. And we talk about how godlike that back four was. I'm like, did it have to be that decent with that midfield and strike force in front of them? Exactly. When you were 4-0 up after half an hour every game, it's easy to defend when the other team are just on their knees begging for mercy. There's like, they're not even bothering. It's easy. Whereas if you're 1-1 or 2-1 with like 5 minutes to go and they put 8 minutes stoppage time up, you're just going to keep running so much more than you have to. But that's why I said, I don't know what happened. We had this, I don't know if it was last season, I think it was the season before, where we went about 2 months having 20, 30 shots a game, and we were lucky to score 1 or 2 goals. It seems we've gone, apart from last night, exclude last night, the games before, we're having 20, 25 shots on goal, maybe 6 or 7 on target, and 1 goal. I think, didn't he said, like, our last 5 or 6 games, we've had, like, I don't get it, that XG. I don't understand how they do it. But they said we should have scored 9 goals and we'd scored like 2. And the rest of them were own goals and penalties. We need to be more clinical like we were last night. Because if not, teams they're gonna punish you. Even people like Wolves. If you're not gonna score, they'll happily take a 1-1 draw and celebrate, won't they?
I'd find it really interesting as well, just on the injuries thing. I'd find it really interesting to compare a Premier League team, whoever it may be. I'd be interested to compare them to both a Championship, League One, and League Two team, and see, if they all did the same training regimes, how the injuries would be different. Because I will guarantee you that, sort of watching it at League One level, for example, as I do locally now, Plymouth have had injuries like galore this season, and I'm pretty sure that's down to the facilities that they're playing on, and the fact that obviously at that level there's a lot more challenges going in. But at the elite level, there's a lot more of these sort of muscle-related injuries and training-related injuries. You very rarely see a player get done in a game. Okay, it does happen, but it's more often training injuries and things like that. So, I think Arsblog said it right. If we knew the answer to these injuries, I'm sure somebody would just, if we could wave a magic wand, we would. There's clearly something, and they've got to get to the bottom of it somehow, but it's just the way it is. And that's why we've got a squad of 753 players at the moment, because we need them all.
Yeah, and another thing I want to have a look at, so I can get rid of. If anybody wants that link, if you're listening at home and you want that link to the Google Sheets I update every time there's been an injury, just the AFC podcast, just go there and ask, or DM or whatever, and eventually I will see it. Just going to get rid of that picture here. Add to this one, Kris, this is the January fixture list. 8 games in 28 days. Bournemouth away, Liverpool at home, Chelsea away, Forest away, Inter away, Man United at home, Carriat away, at home, and then Leeds away. Are they trying to kill players?
Yeah, probably. I mean, look, you're never going to get this argument out the way. There is always too many games, but I mean, it's kind of. I just realised Man United's on my birthday. Ugh. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I don't. Again, maybe I'm old-fashioned, but I'm not sure I really subscribe to this sort of narrative of like players. I don't know. Like, I know they've got to train, and I know it's their job, to quote Roy Keane. But I just don't. I think if you're an elite club, you want more games. You want the momentum. You want all these games. I do agree with what Mac has said in the chat there. The Champions League, whoever decided that was a good idea to change the format of that needs to be shot, because that new tournament format is absolute AIDS. I do not. No, it's not. Really? Okay. Like, so what you really want to watch fucking Monaco against bloody Bruges for the playoff for 27th spot? Really?
No, I like the fact that we play 8 different teams.
No, not for me. Not for me, Clive.
I mean, I'd go back to European Cup way. Cup Winners' Cup,
straight knockout, bosh. Yeah, absolutely. But we're never going to go back to that. But I don't mind group stages, but I would go back to the days of when it was on ITV, and you'd watch all the games kicked off at 7:45, proper old school. But no, I don't like. It's going very Super League-y. And it almost feels like when Super League plans fell through, this was their alternative. It's like, right, okay, we won't push that through as long as we change the model. But then we've got a World Cup with 787 teams next summer, Like, no offense to fucking Comoros and God knows what other dross, Scotland, England, teams like that are going to the World Cup next year. But it's like nobody's going to be tuning in for, unless you are Canadian, no one's going to watch Canada against Qatar, are they? Like, they're just not. Like, no one's going to give a shit. And that's nothing against Canadians or anybody from their home country. You've got every right to be there if the competition's there.
We do love our Canadians.
One in particular, but it's shout out to the OG. But yeah, if you expand competitions this much, you do get some crap in there, and you do get some crap games. And like, again, nothing against Kairat Almaty, but am I going to watch that? I mean, I don't pay for bloody whatever that channel is anymore because it's a waste of fucking money. So
nobody knows what channel it's on. It's all number Wayne.
Yeah, well, the only game I watch in Europe now is the free ones on Prime once a month, whatever it is. But yeah, I just too many games. It's always going to be the argument. But I think if you're Mikel Arteta and you're Arsenal, you want too many games, because too many games means we're in all competitions. We're fighting on all 4 fronts. And when you look at those, those fixtures, sorry, go on.
Carry on.
I was just going to say, when you look at those fixtures, I'm not really one to do predictions because I think it's a mugs game. But when you look at those fixtures, is the Chelsea? Yeah, Chelsea won the League Cup. Have you missed out the return leg of that one, or am I? Because there should be another leg in there somewhere.
I just did a cut and paste from who scored.
Oh, okay. So we played
Isn't
Chelsea twice. I don't know.
Have you got an FA Cup game in there somewhere? Or
we got Portsmouth as well. I was just thinking that. Yeah, Portsmouth is in between Bournemouth and Liverpool, I think.
Well, it's set to all fixtures. No, it hasn't got the FA Cup game in there. Fucking idiots.
So it's
and
9
second
games.
Leg of the Chelsea game. Second leg of the Chelsea game, is that February?
The second leg is the 3rd of February.
Oh, okay, so that is February. Fair enough. But of those games, when you look at them, Bournemouth are not in great form. You know, it's never an easy game away from home, but if you want to win the title, you would hope we will go there and win. I think Liverpool are not the Liverpool of old. Again, at home, we should be looking to beat them. Forest, again, away, tricky place to go, etc. and so on. But City prove that you can go there and win. The Inter game, you know, I would never say we should throw a game, but if there was a game we probably don't really care about, it's that one because we should beat Kairat to qualify.
The Portsmouth game is the 11th of Jan.
Okay, so that's just in between the Chelsea and Forest games then, just after. There'll be a heavily rotated team in both the FA Cup and the Carabao Cup. I would imagine we'll probably field a strong but slightly rotated team in the San Siro. We will definitely field a strong but rotated team against Kairat. And Man United is a given, should win that one. And Leeds away, fucking hate Leeds. Again, yeah, it's Leeds. Do you know what I mean? Like, tough place to go and all that shit, but we should be winning that. We should be winning that game. So on paper, it's a lot of games, but I think we should be looking to win most of those realistically. And I'm in the camp that says I would like us to try and win that Carabao Cup, especially if we got Newcastle in the final because we owe them one again. But yeah, I think we should be trying to win that competition because Chelsea at the moment, if you saw them last night, they are all over the shop. Title challengers, Chelsea, by the way.
Yeah. At the moment, we've played 28 games. Add 19 to that. So we've got 19 Premier League games left. One FA Cup is 20. 2 more League Cup is 22. We've got at least 4 more in the Champions League. That's 26. Add to the 28 we've already played. That's 54 games if we get knocked out of Europe straight away and knocked out of the FA Cup. So last season we played 58. So we're going to be close on. I reckon we're going to be close to 60 games. Last time we played 60 games was Emery's last season when we got to the semi-final of the Europa League. We played 60 games and we won 31 of them.
Am I right in saying as well that because of where we are guaranteed to finish in the Champions League, we've guaranteed that we will have the away leg at home in the knockout rounds? I believe that's right. So in other words, whoever we draw in whatever stage we get to, we will have the second leg at home, which is an advantage because you know what you need to do. I don't think the trouble is the further, if we beat Portsmouth, for example, and we beat Chelsea over 2 legs, people will start that thing they did with Liverpool last year. Can they win the quadruple?
Oh, God. And then when we don't, because no one does, they'll go, look, shit.
Exactly. I'm going to put it on record now on the 31st of December, 2025. If we win anything this season, we'll only win one thing.
Premier League.
That's the one I want. Yeah, if you gave me a choice now, and I know people say, I want the Champions League because of Chelsea. I couldn't give a shit about Chelsea or what other London teams have won. I want the Premier League. That's the one we all want. Would I be gutted we won the League Cup? No, of course I wouldn't. I'd love us to win the League Cup and Premier League double, but it's the Premier League over Champions League for me. Not sure that's how Mikel sees it, but you know.
What do you think to the fixture congestion, Nick? That's going to be 9 games in January. Can we afford to play the reserves in most of those? Most of the non-Premier League ones? Because considering where we are in the Champions League, top of the group. The table. No fucking groups. Fuck groups.
Well, we've got a decent squad, and the last few weeks, people like Ezra and Nwaneri and a few of those players aren't really getting a look in. And who's the one we signed from, what was it, Norgard? He's not, is he injured?
No, he
played last night.
Yeah, he came on. So we've actually got a squad that we can probably rotate it a bit more. Whereas in previous seasons we had to play the exact same, players. Whereas, we don't have to this season. But I just think this is where Arteta's going to earn his money. If he rotates it enough to keep winning games, but I just don't know who's he's going to rotate. I mean, the wingers, I'm not going to be mortified if Madueke and or Eza play on the left and right wing instead of Saka and Martinelli or Trossard. It's just I think in the midfield, it's could we get away with breaking up Gabriel and Saliba in any of those games? Probably not.
What do you mean breaking up? Not playing?
Yeah.
Of course, I think we can. All the cup games, Champions League included, we can play Mosquera, White, Calafiori, any of those at the centre back.
If they're still injured, but because we'll get another player a game injured because Femi cursed us at the start of the season.
Jinxed us.
Yeah, he jinxed us. Not cursed, the same thing. But yeah, like I said, I'm less worried than I was last year when we come into this busy period of games. But I just think we need to keep that spine of the team fit. We need Saliba, Gabriel, Zubimendi, Odegaard, and Rice. They need to stay fit from now until the end of the season. Everyone else, I'm not that fussed. Not that I want anyone to get injured, but I think those players, we need to keep them fit from now till the end of the season. I think we'll have a really good shot at it. And this is Arteta's time to earn his money now.
I agree. So Stan said he was going to join us, but we're almost done. We should have been done about 5 minutes ago. One last thing to get rid of that. One last thing is you wouldn't be surprised to hear that this is our 13th season of doing ABW. Is it 13? 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Yeah, 13 seasons. We've given you 16 pods this year, including this one. It's 17. You can see on the list the most we ever did was 163 in 2 seasons ago. That was pre-show, post-show, loan watch. That was videos on what are they called? Facebook Reels and all those other kind of things. So the most we ever did in the season was 163. And you can see all the views, all the numbers, the average per show. This season we hit the 5 million views on all formats. Now you think 5 million, that's quite a lot. Until you go and see some podcasts will get that with one podcast, and it's taken us 1,362 to do it. But looking back at the glory, go on.
No, you can.
I say, look back at the glory days. Sometimes we would have shows where we get 30,000 shows. I mean, in our first season, the highest was 27,000. Next season, 26, 18, 16, 17. Even 4 seasons ago, we had one with 15,000. Now the most we've had is just under 2,000 because, it does get a little bit monotonous doing it all over and over and over. And it does, but it was more fun. I think what I'm trying to say, when we were shit, it was more fun. And everybody wanted to do pods. And now we're brilliant. Top of the both leagues, unbeaten in the Champions League. Anyone want to come on? No, not really.
I think for a shit. I think, and I'm gonna give you some credit here.
Jesus.
Yeah, well, the streets won't forget, right? Before, no offense to, in fact, I'm not going to name names of other podcasts, but no offense to the 6,974 million Arsenal podcasts that are live today. We started it before it was fashionable. For those who don't know, and for those who are new to our content, I believe is the word we need to use these days, Dally was doing this when Andrew first established Arsblog. We were one of the 2 very first out there. One of the very first out there to do this. We were the first team. 4. There you go. The first 4. We were the first people to do watch-alongs, first people to do live post shows. I'm not saying we were the best.
First to do a live podcast. First one to have live guests on.
There you go.
I mean, live listeners on.
And I think it's fair to say that you and, let's be fair, and Gimli back in the day, God rest his soul. He's not dead.
Because
if he is, that would be awkward.
Just living in Wales, which is much like the same thing.
Wherever he is, I'm sure he's having a wonderful time. But to your credit and Ghiblis, you started something, and the fact you're still doing this, 14 years later, I think is credit to you. You're a miserable bastard. You're a pain in the ass sometimes, but you're good at what you do. And I've said this to you privately, and I'll say it to you live. If you had chosen to monetize this, and I know you don't need the money because you've told me that, but if you had have chosen to monetize this, I'm pretty sure we would have been ahead of all the other Patreon wankers by now. So just saying. But no, we've always done this for free. We've always done it for the fun. And the facts are, people get burnt out. Like, I remember the days when you first asked me to come on this, and I would have done 8 shows a day.
Pod fever.
Yeah, but it gets to that point sometimes. People change, let's not forget, and let's tip the hat to gone but never forgotten Dave Faber, whose anniversary it was recently of his passing. We lost Steve. Other podcasts would have folded for a lot more. Whether you liked him or you hated him, Jace was a big part of this. We lost him as well.
Certainly was.
I still love you, Jace. I still love you. Danny does as well. Really.
Huge part of it.
But faces change, people come and go, and circumstances change. Health situations
people fall in
change,
love.
Job. Yeah, exactly. And you catch venereal diseases like John every week. It happens. So I think to be still going, even if it was one pod a bloody month, to still be doing what we do and still have people tuning in, whether it be live or in post, I think is credit to you, Danny. So I'm just going to give you credit, and that's as much ass licking as I'm going to do.
But that time we did 163 in a month. That was a lot of that was me and Deke, and the amount of effort and time Deke put into that with a job and with various things going on in his life, and it broke us. It just got to the point where I don't even listen to other podcasts anymore. I listen to Totally Football with AC Jimbo, and that is it. All my friends that have got podcasts like Tom's and Harry's and Sophie's and the what's Fergus and Trevor's one's called? That's another one I like. I just do not. I'm bored with football, and so the only reason I do this is because you lot are my friends, which is why you very rarely never see me bringing new people on, because I can't be bothered. I just want to talk to my friends about football. Like at the beginning of the show, we're talking about films. We talk before the pod. We'll talk after the pod, and it's just you just get bored doing it. I mean, when we've done 1,300, and I say we, even if I'm not on it, then you lot will be on it, and then and doing all the work. It's going to take me 2 hours after this to do all the extra work of editing, clipping and posting it, and that's it. There is no editing. I don't, because you lot are such pros. But it's on talk. You mentioned Dave and Steve. Fine, because we contacted their families for quotes that they want put on the bricks outside the Emirates. I had one, I lost it. I found it again because I've had 2 new computers since then, and I lost it all. And then I finally managed to find one of them. I got hold of Mike, Feinberg, who had contacted Dave's family, and he's found it. He found Dave Faber's one from his family with the wording, and I've got Steve's, and I've got the money. And so next year, my number one goal is going to be to get those commemorative bricks done outside the Emirates next to each other for Dave and Steve. So if I forget to do it, people need to remind me. We got the quotes, we got the money. Just need to get my finger out my arse and get it done, because we got the money for that 5 years ago, and I've earned a tidy profit off of that, investing it in McVitie's biscuits. Nick, anything you want to say about 5 million that you had a small sticky hand in?
Well, I think it's probably my fault why the numbers are dropped off, because they're all sick of me being right all the time. Or I look completely uninterested most of the time. But this is my happy face.
It is. You should see my angry face. You should see him doing Twitch. There's no emotion in that boy. He's got the emotions of a dead person.
Yeah, I like playing Dark Souls. I kill a boss after like 5 hours of trying. I go, ooh. That's good. The
other thing you'll be able to confirm as well, Nick, is nobody tunes in for people's numbers always go up when there's rage. If somebody is raging at a game or raging at the football, there's a reason why all these channels of like random Chelsea and Spurs channels going, "He's fucking shit. He's fucking."
Oh yeah, I
You've
mean,
never seen an ABW clip on that.
No.
well, you
there's a
could have
reason
done,
why.
but you didn't push
Jason's
it.
days. Jesus,
Jason's
sometimes Jason's
think
sort of offering you listeners out for a fucking fight. I'll fucking have you.
But at least with Jace, it was from a place of passion and it was genuine. These fucking ones where you can just tell it's put on. Oh, it's so cringe, man.
You see that one today? He was speaking in Arabic about he's a Man United fan, big fat ugly fuck, and he was saying, "We're gonna come, we're gonna find you, we're gonna come to your homes," or something like that.
Fucking ridiculous.
You're threatening the fucking owners of Man United. You
I think that's where a lot of the viewers. I mean, I can't remember the last time we had one. Like we used to have them every live show after the game with Jace, where the other team's fans would come to the chat and try and troll him. Nobody bothers because there's nothing to troll, is there?
Yeah.
No.
Oh, you want to say
well done?
Well done. You know, they're all after like
remember...
Goldbridge and people like that, and he's sitting there punching his chair. I'm like,
yeah. And don't get me wrong, some of it is entertaining. Some of Goldbridge's stuff is hilarious, but it is, it is for clicks and views. And
he's playing the game, isn't he?
Yeah, he's playing the character. Fair
game.
play to the guy. He's got bloody live Bundesliga coverage on his channel. Fair fucks to the guy. He's made himself money. Yeah,
I thought it was hilarious yesterday. He's like when United scored the offside goal, and he scored. He scored. It's not offside.
Oh,
never is that offside. That better not be offside. And he went, that is offside.
I look it up every time, and you have to also remember 90% of the comments and the live chat are kids. They are like it's not people our age.
They're not even
like
fans.
Like I said, like the guys who show them at work, we've got Liverpool, Chelsea, Spurs fans. They're watching him. They're not watching. I mean, is AFTV even still going?
Fuck knows.
Like how it used to be.
They are. Didn't they all fall out?
Half of them are in jail. The other half are on
or on the run.
Half of them died. Half of them got deported.
The only one who's still doing the rage bait is that cunt Lee Gunner. And he's everything. Oh, we scored a goal. It's fucking ridiculous.
Yeah, but Christ, he can't even wash himself. He's irrelevant. No, to be fair, though, with AFTV, when I say to be fair, I don't really want to be fair.
They're millionaires. They're doing something right.
I was going to say, even them, they made money. They were the first to do it.
I'll tell you what, honestly, AFTV aren't doing as much as that anymore.
No,
but Sky News, Sky Sports are doing it. Talk Sport are doing it.
Yeah,
they're now doing everything. What they criticise them for doing,
they've gone full Durham.
Yeah, I mean they're sitting there on a radio station dressed up as a clown. I mean, we all thought they were clowns, but not literally clowns.
This is the same Sky Sports, Nick, that have that we pay a subscription fee to watch Ballers League. By the way, so
and Jamie O'Hara, who
not really a serious channel anymore, is it? Like I remember, I'm old enough to remember the days where they had Legends on a Sunday night.
Yeah,
Legends 5-a-side. That was entertaining. I don't want to watch a load of YouTubers.
Yeah, but it's not just that they're tinfoil hat on. They're coming for Arsenal. I don't know anybody who likes it. Even like the Liverpool supporters, they're like, we watch the game. We turn it off at halftime. We turn it off at full. I'm not interested. Nobody's interested in their whole stir-up controversy to try and upset people, and they're just making a rod for their own back. And eventually, that will shift away from that because they can't keep doing it because they're losing like a lot of a lot of subscriptions because people just who are you going to pay to get wound up? Eventually, you're just like, I'm not going to pay for this anymore because it's upsetting me.
Yeah.
Rage
they would Sky and BT and Amazon start showing the game at 1 minute to 3. Just play lift music for half time, and at full time don't have no presenters unless it's Ian Wright.
I don't watch it.
And
do you remember the days? Do you remember the days of I think it was Ford Super Sunday, and they had this here we go. And it was like. Oh, you loved it. And don't get it wrong, Keys and Gray, there's a reason they're not working in the UK anymore. But utter woke nonsense. But they were Clarkson. They were Clarkson before Clarkson was Clarkson.
Those women should love it. It's a bit of attention.
But in those
Woman
days when
linesman.
it's like Ford Super Sunday, you were your ass was on that sofa an hour before kickoff, and you took in all of the stats, the discussion, the team sheets came out, all the graphics. You were there for the whole thing.
Even before that, Chris, what was the one with Kamara on before that as well?
Oh yeah, like Soccer Saturday.
Yeah, and stuff like that. But honestly, I didn't feel like they were attacking me and laughing at me, the viewer. I think they were laughing at each other and just having a good time and enjoying football.
Friends. Yeah.
Whereas now I watch that and I feel like I'm just getting attacked. I was like, I was attacked last week. Apparently, Arsenal supporters hounded Emery out. I was like, I don't remember
it's
that.
Bollocks. It's like the old saying, sex sells. Nowadays, rage bait sells. That's what it is. And it's just the...
Well, yes, that book of controversy creates cash.
Creates cash. Eric Bischoff, exactly.
But that's only short term. How long did the NWO last? 5 years.
It's very true. If you know, you know. It's very true. I have no time for pundits telling me what I should think. I
especially when 3 months previous they're saying the exact opposite. And it's straight up on YouTube and they get showed. Stan
Stan's joined us.
At last, it has happened. I'm finally on a podcast with Kris. I have completed podcasting. It's complete.
You poor bastard, Stan.
Nice to finally meet you, and good afternoon to everyone.
Hello.
And you, my friend.
You rushed home from work to do this.
Got off the bus and legged it.
Was it
grew hair for this?
Was there crackles on the bus this time?
No, it was a good journey. It was a pleasant journey.
Oh.
New Year's Eve, not many junkies are out today.
That is an actual thing that made Stan ill. It was on the bus, and so often with the crackheads. You got ill from it, didn't you?
Yeah, well, they at the bus stop on their little machine or whatever they do, and then they get on the bus, and there's all fumes coming out, and they sit next to you. You get cracked up, basically.
Yum yum yum. So from the whole show, Stan, what topics we're only going to do? We can do another 10 minutes while you're here. If either of you two need to go, you can or stay.
I got 10.
Oh, good. What have you got? What we've talked about tonight, Stan, that you like to cover? Because you made some good. Nothing about the poorhouse and feeding porridge to Trossard. We don't need any more of that nonsense.
I think for me, to have a bit of a roundup on Arsenal this season. A couple of months ago, I was saying to some friends of mine that it was the first time under Mikel Arteta's management that I'd felt very optimistic so early in the season that we could go on and win the league or something big like the Champions League. And my reasoning for that was, even though we've been close so many times over the last few seasons, I've always felt that having such a small squad is always going to catch up to you at some point and knacker you, especially with the way that we are with our injury history. But this season, I just really feel that we have enough about us and enough quality depth-wise that we can maybe see it through. So, and after yesterday's game, I will say I managed to sneak out of work and make it down to the Arsenal pub for yesterday lunchtime. And I was very nervous going into the game. And even at half-time, everybody around the pub was kind of saying, well, this looks like a game where it's one goal from either side may win this. So then to turn it around, as we did in that second half, and score 4 and absolutely give them a bit of a hiding, for me, that was a statement win. And my optimism has increased even more. So it's a great way, I think, for Arsenal to end the year, on 2025. Very positive.
I'm glad to see Nick has finally banned Phil Macker. He's deleted all of his message and he's timed him out. He's had enough.
No more KFC for you, Phil.
And lots of numbers is saying no one mentions goalkeepers regarding best performance. Raya has been bloody brilliant this season. I was just about to type Nick, that not Nick, and that I picked Raya for my player of the season because of 2025 because he's been brilliant. So that was earlier on in the show.
Goalkeepers never get praise, though, do they?
It's not meant to. That's not their job. Their job is to just to catch balls and throw balls. Stan, who would be your player and second player of 2025?
Ooh, I think this season Riccardo Calafiori for me has been a bit of a treat. I like seeing Riccardo Calafiori, the way he plays the game, but also as well, I know that he's missed a portion of the seasons with injury, but I'm a big fan of Gabriel Megalegs. Yeah. Everything about that guy I just like, and from when he first came to Arsenal, there were some question marks about his discipline. There would be some rash tackles or rash hijinks that would get him penalised, and he seems to have managed to find a way around that without it really impacting the way that he plays the game. So I think so far this season, maybe Megalegs for me.
Me and Stan have the same opinion, you see.
Yeah, I think you're right though. I think Calafiori's been most improved player from last season. I mean, people were talking about, is he good enough for this level? Maybe loan him out or get rid. And he's just come in, and it's just proof that sometimes players take a year to adapt to the Premiership. And he's come in. Yeah, well, he ain't put a foot wrong, has he? He's just bossed it when he has played. He's just looked so comfortable on the ball.
I think his ability was never in question. It was just the fitness, wasn't it? That was the worry.
Yeah, but he was playing centre half, right back, left back, midfield, and then he was out injured 2 or 3 times as well.
And I still stand by the idea that his best position centre back. I will not change my view on that. But he's
everyone should play centre back.
Isn't that in the 3 for Italy though? When he does the Martini on the left.
Yeah, but also he doesn't play left back for Arsenal, does he? He plays left wing.
Did you used to play with a back 8 with the Pirates, Chris?
No, we were never that good.
Never had 8 players. Oh, no wonder you lost.
No, barely got enough on the pitch to have 8.
I think also a player that should get
Timber as well.
That's what I was going to say. Timber. Yeah. Is there a position he hasn't played? Because at times he does play like a striker, doesn't he?
He's easily for me the best right back in Europe right now. Yeah. I think Hakimi is in terms of attacking right backs is better when he's fit, but he's out injured at the moment. But right now, Timber he's just wonderful. Nobody beats him one-on-one. Nobody. He pockets every single winger. He's just and don't forget he came back from a cruciate, not just a tight hamstring. He came back from the most severe injury a footballer can get, and he looks better than ever. So fair play to him. And I wouldn't mind signing his brother, by the way, who's available on a free next summer.
He's a DM, isn't he, or central midfielder?
Yeah, he's a holding midfielder, but I
on a free, isn't he? At PSV?
He's out of contract in the summer. Ajax.
Ooh, is it worth going for him in the summer? I mean, in January?
Somebody will, because he's obviously running out his contract for a reason. I don't think we will, but I wouldn't. I would have a look at him.
Can I just say it's quite unusual, quite funny that here we are talking about the players that we're looking at so far this season, and usually when you have a conversation about what players have caught your eye, it's usually sort of like the attacking players, but we're all talking about players that play in defensive roles, and I think that really at the moment that is our identity as a team, aren't we? We are a very tightly well-knit defensive team, and everything else seems to be built on top of that.
Agreed. Yeah, totally agree. Yeah. And it's almost going back to the old days, isn't it? The 1-0 to the Arsenal days. Like we're built on a defensive structure. George Graham's been to a few games this season. I bet he's absolutely smiling like a Cheshire cat because, it's not like we're blowing teams away last night aside with goals. We're consistently being a well-organised defensive side or built on a good structure. And that's where the success has come from, building that best goalkeeper around, best 2 centre-backs around, best full-backs. The rest has come after that. So you think back to what Arteta took over when we won that FA Cup. Look at that squad then.
I was looking last night.
The Mustafis of this world.
Yeah, Mustafi, Maitland-Niles, Aubameyang.
Liechtenstein.
Yeah.
That was a point I was going to bring up. We've actually paid the same amount of money for Gyökeres, Stan, as we paid for Aubameyang and Lacazette each. I mean, we're in about 5 million, depending on currency exchange rates. What did you thought about Gyökeres? Because he's getting a lot of grief for spending the same money as we spent on 2 players in 2017, 16, something like that. I can't remember.
Well, you're asking me my opinion on Gyökeres, but I thought you were going in 10 minutes. So.
Is this going to be a long one?
Just in a nutshell, over on our podcast on Fan Circle, when we were talking about him as being the signing, I am on record as saying that I was uncertain on whether the way that he plays his game and whether that would be able to translate over to the Premier League. The way that he plays the game, some of the things that he was able to get away with and his style of play. And I haven't seen anything so far this season to make me think any different. And when I'm trying to find the good in Gyökeres, I'm finding that I'm really having to squint and dig to find those positive things. And, that's for me, that's never a good thing. But obviously, like all Arsenal supporters, I want him to do well, because if he's doing well, then we're doing well. But I have gone on record and said many times that we probably won't win this league because of Victor Gyökeres, but there's a good chance that we will win it in spite of Victor Gyökeres.
Oh, that's technical.
It's got nice hair, though.
He's got blinding hair.
I think Stan's spot on, though. I do, because there's always that, especially when you interact with people who have a sane mind on the internet, which are rare, to be fair. But if you do find people that are actually normal human beings you can have a conversation with, those who are pro and those who are against, they're always, they've got a narrative they're peddling. And I definitely feel that there's a lot of cope at the moment. Like whenever someone criticizes Gyökeres, which in fairness, I don't think he's been overly criticized. Questions have been asked, but when people do go for him, there is always the first thing. Well, have you not seen he does this and he does that? And there's like a hard copium. Whereas if he was doing really well, we would just go, what? Like we do. If people criticize Saka, we just go, yeah, all right, mate, whatever. Like, what are you on about? You don't even interact with it. With Gyökeres, there's a very big thing in the Arsenal community. It's like, we must defend him at all costs. Like, it's okay. It's all right if he's having a bit of an off time. It's all right if he hasn't fully adjusted yet, But if we get to the end of the season and he's got 5 goals, questions will be asked, because 60-odd million is a lot of money. So, yeah, I kind of do agree with what Stan's saying there. I do think there is an element of cope. But we all hope nobody's against him. Nobody wants him to fail. We all want him to succeed. So.
Yeah, so Stan, going forward, what do you think the forward line's going to be with Jesus and Havertz and Gyökeres? How are you going to get them all fitted into the side? And do you ever see, like I said earlier, Arteta has said in an interview that he would like to try 2 up front. What do you reckon to that?
Oh, I'd love to see 2 up front. I'm not every one of my FIFA career saves was a 4-4-2 diamond formation with the wingers and 2 strikers. I'm stuck in the past. That's how I roll. I'd love that. But
give it time, it will come back.
Like Kris said earlier, it's like flares, right? They'll come back round soon, right? At some point. But I think when it comes to all of the strikers that we have available to us, I mean, I don't know this to be certain, but I just have this feeling that Mikel Arteta has always had a bit of a soft spot for Kai Havertz. I think that he sort of he gives Mikel a little twinkle in his eye when he sees him, and I think that when Kai Havertz is fully up and running, I think it's going to be between himself and Jesus to fight for that starting spot. And I think, looking at the way that we play with our strikers, we just seem to play stylistically and better on the eye when we have a player that plays more as a false 9 than we do with somebody who just wants to be at the tip of the attack in a Gyökeres. It just seems to benefit everybody. And I don't know if that's because that's all we've had for so long under Mikel Arteta, but it just seems to me that someone like Kai Havertz he's like an in-betweener of a Gyökeres and a Marino. He can come deep and make things happen and start off an attack. But then he's also got the legs and the nous to get into the penalty box to help finish off the attack that he might have even started. And that sort of play for us, it just seems to look better and feel better playing with that kind of a striker than a Gyökeres type who's going to just be sort of like, in between centre backs and being at the tip of the attack. And I don't see why we should have to rip up everything that we know and start all over again just to accommodate one person.
He's very the older folk amongst us will like this reference. Gyökeres is John Hartson of 2025.
Yeah.
He's he will get you goals and he'll work his nuts off and he'll put himself about. And he's a big physical player and he's a presence, but he's not the Ian Wright of the same era. It's just, he's not the Anelka coming through at that age. And dare I say it, had we have gone for someone like Ekitike, I think he probably would have been a bit more of an instant hit because he's just more, again, it's like I said earlier on, he's easier on the eye. And I think us as Arsenal fans, we're used to seeing the Henrys, the Bergkamps, the Perez's, the Ljungbergs, the sort of those effortless gliding players. Whereas now we've got John Hartson up front, and it's a bit different. And even Kai, although he's a big guy, he moves with that grace. And he's always a big physical player, but he's got that German efficiency. He's very technically good, very skillful, and as I said earlier on in the pod, as soon as he is match fit, and that's probably going to be a good month. Let's be realistic. He will be back in that he'll be back in that striker spot, 100% guaranteed.
But then what's going to happen with the some of the fans? They're going to go, Havertz is back, right? We're going to win every game 6-0.
Yeah, because they will.
Expecting that. What? He hasn't scored a hat-trick in his first game back.
Yeah, of course
That's never been his fucking job. Shut up.
But he's appreciated now, which is good because he's a wonderful footballer. I remember when we signed him. Even now, he's my favourite player. I absolutely adore him. He's just there are levels that Kai can go to, and if we can get him fit again, he's just got everything as a forward. I'd love to see him in the Odegaard role, but obviously you can't because Odegaard's there. But as a 10, when he was at Leverkusen and he used to drift into those pockets, he was so good. He was Wirtz before Wirtz was a flop. he was that elite sort of link player, but and don't forget Gabby Jesus. I mean, that goal last night, that was a good finish, by the way.
Didn't fuck about, did he?
No, that was a proper finish. If he contributes 5-6 goals between now and the end of the season, that's like a new signing. So don't rule him out either.
Do we need anybody in January, Stan? We were talking about that earlier. Are you thinking, or did you not hear?
Was that to me?
Yeah. We were talking earlier about players to get in January, and Kris said he'd like a couple in on loan. What's your thoughts about the situation in January? Do we need anyone? Will we get anyone?
I wouldn't say no to a cheeky Rodrigo, but
no,
I know he's had a bit of a goal drought, but maybe a change of environment. But
Mbappe on loan.
I wouldn't mind a sort of a marquee name or someone a bit of razzle dazzle, but there's no glaring areas of the team at the moment where you think, well, for so long we were always saying like we've never replaced Gilberto Silva, or we've never replaced this guy or that guy. We seem to be, efficient in all areas now. So if you find a few quid under the sofa and you just want to bring in a bit of a razzle dazzle, then go for it. But we don't have any glaring, gaping holes as I see it at the moment with everybody fit.
And controversially, we said earlier on, I don't know if you heard this bit, Stan, we were talking about players, well, we didn't actually talk about it, but we were saying that there could be some outgoings. I would not be at all surprised if both Nwaneri and Myles Lewis-Skelly went on loan this winter window.
I did ask that in the chat box, and I didn't hear you talk about it. So I'm interested what are your thoughts on someone like an Ethan Nwaneri, a Lewis-Skelly, or even both going out on loan? Because my fear is injuries. That we've been in situations before where we've looked around and gone, what about that guy that's out on loan at such and such? Can't we get him back? We really want to find ourselves in that situation. So what do you think? Do you think we're capable of doing that?
I think the biggest problem we've got is going to come down to the players and it being a World Cup year, especially for Myles. I think the issue we've got is, same with Jesus, people saying, just get him and sell him to Brazil in January. And it's like, no, we need these players. There's a reason why we've got such a big squad, because we needed these players because we knew we were going to get the injuries. So it's a bit counterproductive to then let players go on loan. So I would say the only way those players go out on loan is if they go to clubs where they're going to play every week, and the Arsenal hierarchy sanction players to be signed in their place. Because if you, and I know nobody wants to hear this, and I don't want to hear this, but I use the Smith Rowe analogy for Ethan, that I can see Smith Rowe sort of theory going the same way with Ethan, in that he's too good to not be playing, but he's probably, or he might not. I think he's good enough for us, don't get me wrong, but he might not get the opportunity to get the minutes. With Lewis-Skelly, and I know that Jeff Arsenal got a lot of heat for tweeting this, but I agreed with him. I actually don't think Myles is ever going to make it at the top level for us. I don't think. I love him. This is not me slagging him off either,
because he's not a left back. He was a defensive midfielder.
But I don't think he's anywhere near good enough. You put him alongside Zubimendi, it's chalk and cheese. Yeah. And I know people say, well, we've not seen him play in midfield. But there's a reason that he broke through into the team as a left back, because he wasn't trusted to play midfield. And again, it's not me slagging him off. I want us to bring through our own talent. I want us to bring through our own. But I just think, I know Jeff tweeted it and I know he got a lot of stick, but I just don't think technically and positionally and disciplinarily, I think Lewis-Skelly has that sort of that brain fart thing where he shuts off a bit. And I don't think he's ever going to be a first team. Again, compare him to Calafiori when fit. It's night and day, like what Calafiori gives us compared to Lewis-Skelly in that position. That said, all of that said, I wouldn't let either of them go unless we are going to sign replacements. But if we are going to sign replacements, one of those two, if not both, will be sold for high profit in the summer because they're homegrown and they're English and they'll make the most money.
And don't listen to people at England that say, "Oh, go out on loan and play every game." So he goes out on loan to a mid to low table Premiership side, plays every minute of every game. He still won't pick him, will he?
No, I agree. That was stupid from Tuchel. I mean, that was just ridiculous. Yeah. It's none of his business where his players should be going. That's a club decision. But I think Ethan, I think him not being in the squad last night was quite telling. If he doesn't play at Portsmouth, then he's definitely going out on loan.
Yeah.
And I think, it just feels to me like we can't. Players want to play. They want to play, and they'll give it half a season because they'll believe in their own ability. But when they're sat there at Christmas, having played like 20 minutes of the season, and they're potentially an England international like Skelly is, for example, they're going to look at it and go, "I've got to make that. I've got to make that tough decision."
Wasn't the Brighton his first Prem start of the season?
Yeah, but that was only because there was an injury in the warm-up.
Yeah.
So, why
do you think Ethan's not getting as many minutes? Because I would have thought that the Carabao Cup game against Palace, I thought that would have been ideal to give someone like him some minutes somewhere, and was miffed that he couldn't get on the pitch. Why do you think that is? Because when he came in to sort of pick up the slack for Saka, when we first really saw a bit of him last season, he looked more than capable, looked very exciting. So I don't understand what the deal is.
I think that's the issue, Stan, in a weird way, because he broke through. Although we know him as an attacking midfielder, a 10, he got minutes as a wide replacement for Saka. And since he signed the new contract, and I think Arteta said it himself, we see him as a creative 10, or I think he even said he can play as a 9, that you fancy him as a striker. And he hasn't played since they've told him that that's his position he's going to play. And then they went and signed Madueke, so he was never going to play wide right. So I almost think that's almost been the issue, because if he's going to play centrally, he's got to displace one of Odegaard, Eza. Yeah. Who else we got in there? He's never going to play in Rice or Zubimendi's position. And I actually think he would pick Mikel Merino in the attacking 10 over Nwaneri at the moment. So I don't know. And don't forget as well, we don't see training. And you know what Mikel is like. I mean, if they stir their tea the wrong way and he doesn't like the attitude of it, he won't pick him.
Good point.
And you can criticize him. But if he wins the title, no criticism at all. You can't criticize it. But Mikel is Mikel. He's got a bit of pep in him. He's got a bit of weird about him. We all know this.
We'd need to play Ethan probably 15, 20 games in a row to see what he's made of, to get a good, especially if he plays in the midfield. Are you going to gamble in a title? You're going to drop Odegaard for 3 months to play him? You can't, can you?
Even when Odegaard was out, he wasn't getting games.
If he goes on loan, do you know where I'd love to see him go? Replace Semenyo at Bournemouth. Put him in that attacking sort of slightly wide right, but basically an attacking forward. Because at Bournemouth, they play our style of football, attacking football, Spanish coach. He'd get minutes. I'd love to see him there. Myles, again, I don't really know, because I'd almost like to see Myles go to a club like a David Moyes type club, like an Everton, somewhere that's going to toughen him up and get him sort of really taught positional. I mean, he's got Gabriel Heinze as a coach, you'd think. But I think in Myles' mind, I think he still sees himself as a midfielder, and no amount of coaching is going to change that. So, but with Ethan, he just needs to play. So it's a tough one, isn't it?
At least there'll be plenty of clubs out there that will want both of them, but it's got to be none of the usual bullshit. Hey, have one of our young starlets. Oh, like when Gnabry went to, was it West Brom?
Stoke.
Yeah. Yeah. It's got to be, if you want either MLS or Nwaneri, they've got to be a starter. You maybe give them a couple of weeks to get used to the club. Then after that, they've got to play every single game. Otherwise, you're not having them, because there's no point in them going on loan if they're not going to play.
Look you loaned a player out, and then that man has got sacked within the first 6 weeks of the season.
Never played him again.
Just never played him again.
Look at the boy at United. That people were falling over themselves. No, the striker that we sold them, that left for the big money. The Obi is his name.
I've got an emergency. My missus is sending me a message with a picture asking me, which beer do you want from the off license? That must be taken care of. Just give me a second.
Get it sorted. But yeah, when they let Obi go to Man United, everyone was raving. Oh, I can't believe we've let Obi go. Remember, I was the one sitting there going, no, Aiden Heaven is the loss.
And he's actually
look
playing.
How well he's doing now. Yeah. So, sometimes but he wanted to play. He had an opportunity for more money. He knew he'd get into Man United's team. What that says about Man United is it's all you need to know. But yeah, sometimes you have to kill your darlings. And as Chris just put in the chat there, if you sold Nwaneri, for example, Chelsea were very close. Man City were very close. He'd go for big money. And you can't keep adding to a team like ours without selling someone. So I don't know. And
after
sadly,
signing that contract, it keeps us in the driving seat. We don't have to panic about it, right?
Absolutely, yeah. And we're probably going to lose. I mean, there'll be others that'll go. I think Ben White will probably go next summer, which is a shame, because I love Ben White, but Arteta clearly doesn't trust him anymore, which is a shame.
Too much money invested in for him to just get bit part games.
Well, yeah, and also he's still English, and he'd still fetch a fee, so makes sense. Doesn't it?
The manager said that he'd like to see him play, so the door's open for England, but he's just not been fit, which is just bad luck.
Yeah, and again, you ain't dropping Timber, are you? You just are.
No.
And that is ultimately at the cutthroat. Whether you play Sunday League or whether you play Champions League, if you've got a squad of anything more than 18 players, it's really, really hard to keep people happy, because they all want to play. And if they don't, then what the fuck are they doing there? So sometimes you just, you have to bite the bullet and say, sorry, it's just the way it is.
And then we saw Rice come in at right back and play brilliantly. So there's your backup.
Yeah, but Rice would play well in goal. I mean, that guy's he's just wonderful, isn't he?
I had my mate Tony around fixing my computer the other day. He's a West Ham fan. He came with me to Arsenal's. He came to the '98 FA Cup final with me, Tony. And then he was at the Emirates for Arsenal's first ever loss, being a West Ham fan. And he said Declan Rice is just probably one of the best midfielders in the world in his position. He said if he was for sale now, he's £150 million player. So I remember moaning at the time saying we paid a lot for him, but. Yeah, absolutely.
And just for the record, just to upset West Ham fans even further, I would take another one of their young players right now as well.
Is that Matey Boy they're playing up front? Is it Bowden?
No, well, Bowen. No, I like Bowen, but no, I take Potts. I think he's going to be a really good player.
Is he related to the old Potts from the olden days?
Steve Potts' son, yeah.
Oh, what, is he a defender? I've heard the name.
Yeah, defensive midfield, but can play fullback, can play centre back. He's basically Rice incarnate. I think he's going to be. I think it's Freddie Potts. I think his name is. I think he's going to be really good. He's got that. He's got that Adam Walton. He's got Adam Walton, Anderson, Forest type of vibe. He's a proper like balls to the wall, all action. I like him a lot. 22
years old, 6 foot tall. Yeah, I mean, he's got the haircut for someone in that position. If his dad's a pro, that means his head is on properly. He's only played 7 Premier League games though.
Yes, this is his kind of his breakout season, but he's got all those Rice qualities when Rice was a lot younger. So yes, he'll go for money. I think somebody will have him.
Oh, and he's got a brother, Dan Potts. I remember that name.
He's a podcaster.
Yeah.
Oh, of course.
Yeah. Stan, anything else you want to talk about before we go? Because I said we'll only be about an hour or so, and it's been 2.5 hours.
No. Thank you for waiting for me. I was happy to just jump on my last pod for 2026. But no, I've got nothing else particular to say. Just I just want to wish all of you a fantastic 2026. And I don't know if you lot are like me. I'm bloody glad to see the back of 2025. So it can't get any worse. It can only get better.
My years are always pretty good. I mean, I'm in a very lucky position to not be bothered by anything
ever.
And Danny, are you going to be keeping this naked face of yours? Are you going to grow the bush back?
We'll be growing back. I like it to be about an inch long, 3/4 of an inch long. Any less than that, it's a bit worrying. But it is. You can see that I've got some definition in the chin after losing weight. But I've been off my diet since the end of October, so now I'm back on it.
Is emerging.
Yeah, I was a bit of a piggy over Christmas, and I actually went on the 27th. No more. I can't do it. I can feel the whole of my side is sticking out. All my legs are completely bloated. You know, me and Nick were talking about this, how bloated we get on the diet. We're off the diet.
I had so much chocolate the other day that when I went to bed, I literally had to sleep in a sitting up position because every time I lied down, every time I lied flat, I could feel stuff coming up. I had to sit up to like keep it all down.
You're going to see a training montage of Danny like riding his wheelchair up the steps.
Like in Rocky. I'll get to the first step.
It's going to be like, and then just going to tip over and go backwards down the steps.
I'll get on the AI and make that.
If anyone's got AI, please make that immediately.
Well, I do have a picture of me at Christmas, but it was it's not very because it's so cold. Me and Sean went to Cambridge, and it was so cold.
I don't like where this is going.
No, I put my whole coat. I've got a jacket on. I've got everything on, and I'm so cold. And the coat is a 9XL, and so I have it so it goes down over my knees. So I'll share the picture with you only because you can have a little laugh. It makes me look absolutely ginormous.
When Argyle went down to 10 men and 3 goals down to Reading last Saturday, that's a brilliant picture, especially with the scarf.
I love it.
I genuinely sat there going, shall I? I never like leaving games, but I was like, it's fucking freezing. I might just go. But I stuck it out.
This was a couple of days after Christmas, and we went and sat outside King's College where we all sit, and the Cafe Nero, and it was about 3 degrees, and there was a wind, and we sat there for half an hour and went, fuck this. And we came back in again because... the coat goes all the way down over my knees. I've got a cardigan over my knees. I've got my T-shirt over my knees, and my legs are still frozen. My feet were sore from the cold. So in Cambridge for about 4 hours, and then we came home. So I'm a warm weather person, and Sean was looking lovely as always.
In my mind, that picture was taken just a few minutes after you both arrived in said balloon in the background.
We were going around the world in 80 days, and that was day 1. We gave up. We went, fuck this, we'll do it in the summer. Right, people. Thank you very, very much to all you people that have listened to the 16 podcasts we did 17 this year, 24 last year. Actually, those numbers mean we're only going to do 12 next year. And to the 5,037,013 that are views that we have had over the last 13 seasons. Yeah, thank you very much to all of you for listening. It's a shame you don't all come back, because we're one of the few podcasts where we don't charge you, we don't make any money, there's no paywall. We don't, like, at the moment, the show isn't monetized at the moment. You don't turn on and there's adverts. And when we do turn adverts on, we get about 50p a show, because we have to StreamYard. We don't pay for StreamYard anymore, which is why you've got the thing in the top right-hand corner, because I refuse to pay £200 a year for it. Femi paid for SoundCloud this year, because I refused to get. I pay for it every year, so I said, "Oh, you lot gonna have to dig deep." So Femi paid for it. It's only 70, 80 quid, 60 quid. I don't remember. So yeah, hopefully you'll stay with us next year. So big thanks to everybody that's been watching all through the years and stuck with us in the low times. Like there's 12 people watching now. You all deserve a medal. I mean, it's an hour and a quarter before New Year. Thank you very much, Nick, for joining us. Hope you're not going to be sleeping on the sofa tonight.
It could happen.
Sleeping in the computer room, holding onto your Batman figure for dear life, because that's the only thing you're getting any warmth from. Kris, thank you very much. It's always lovely to have you on the rare occasions that you grace us with your presence now that you're all French football. How with the Marty Leighton Orient doing shit as usual. Got a draw against PSG though, didn't you?
Yeah, draw against PSG. We're floating just in the comfort zone ahead of the winter, or just before the winter break. So yeah, we're doing all right, thank you. But no, it's a pleasure. I'm still here. I will still float in and out of shows, whereas and when you're desperately scraping the barrel. But no,
when we're in crisis, you'll be.
When it all goes to shit, I'll be here going, I fucking told you.
When we go out of the Champions League, the FA Cup, and the Carabao Cup in 3 weeks, you'll be on.
I'll be here slagging everybody off. I'll have Lee Gunner in the background. It'll be wonderful. But no, seriously, lovely to meet Stan and good to chat with Nick again. And Danny, you have to be here. But yeah, to all the listeners and to all your extended friends, family, and pets. Never forget the pets, because they go, people forget pets. But seriously, have a lovely New Year. It's a shit. I hate to break this to you, but it's the same shit tomorrow. It's just a different number. Yeah. But enjoy it, and hopefully this time next year we'll be talking about a Premier League and maybe a Champions League. Who knows? So I'll be Arsenal.
You never know. And Stan, thank you for popping on. One of my favourite guests. And you and me always have a chit chat on WhatsApp and trying to arrange to get you on. But because you live in a silly country with silly time zones, it's really hard, because you're a working man. You're not a man of leisure like me and Kris.
Yeah, thanks for having me on throughout the year. Not been as usual as I would have liked because of those silly hours. And look forward to spending time with you all again in 2026, hopefully.
Do you want to tell everyone where they can find you on Twitter, or we're giving up with Twitter? Because I'm going to give up.
You can find me on Arsenal fan circles on most Thursdays with Ray and the boys. We've been a little bit ad hoc over the Christmas period, but I think we'll be returning. I think we should be doing a show tomorrow. So those of you that know about us, come by and say hello. And those of you that don't, fuck off. No, I'm joking. Come and join the party as well.
Kris, if anyone wants to listen to your French podcast with you and your fellow French football fans, where is that?
Yeah, we're still on X as it is known. French Football Weekly. We do a show every week. We've been very consistent this year. We haven't actually missed a week, incredibly. We put out our shows usually on a Monday. We're on SoundCloud and all the general podcast apps, I think. Spotify as well. But yeah, if you like French football, or even if you just have a passing interest and want to get into it, myself, Phil, Jez, and Tom, any of us, mixture each week, weekly shows, and we talk about French football. You won't be shocked to hear. And I completely forgot to say, I did notice a wild Mr. Hollifriend dropped into the chat earlier on. So Jeff,
did he?
He did. So I just want to say, Jeff, you are easily my most favourite human being on this earth. So
and me,
to you and yours.
I'm gonna send him a message tonight. I think I'm gonna send him a 3-hour WhatsApp message.
I send him one of those at least once a week. He must be bored stiff of me by now, but I love the man.
And Nick, if anybody wants to come and look through your bathroom window when you're having a poo, would you like to give everybody your address?
Yeah, number 7 Norwich Road, Norwich.
Well, there we go. Right.
Or you can come to Nick Fights on Twitch or my game and podcast 360 Gamer.
Lovely. And me, I don't do anything. I'm gonna install OBS or whatever it is, and I might start streaming on Twitch, playing games that I like to play that no one else plays, because Yeah, I finally got a computer that works, which is lovely. Right, thank you very much, everybody, and we will see you next year. Up your bum.